Chapter 9:16. Abe Chun-san was very confident. This base was just a paper tiger. His family actually sent him to this remote place. It was really overkill. At the same time, Bai Lin Luo received news that the base had been breached. Oh, how many people are there? Bai Lin Luo turned on the surveillance footage and saw the people inside. Seeing Abe Chun-san summon the ghost warrior, Bai Lin Luo raised his eyebrows. On Myoji, the Abe on Myoji of Japan, known as the treasure of Japan's history, one of the three major families. Susu stood at the side, wearing a military uniform specially made by the Li family army. Her eyes also fell on the surveillance footage. Their trump card is the Shikigami that can use the ghost warrior. It should be the second son of the Abe family's branch family, Abe Chun-san. When Susu was in the Special Abilities Bureau, she had collected a lot of information on various forces. She had a good memory, and she happened to see Abe Chun-san's information before. It seems like Japan knows that X's body is on this island. Bai Lin Luo fell into deep thought, seemingly thinking of a countermeasure. Should we send out the magnetic blast infantry? Susu asked. This magnetic blast infantry was an idea that Bai Lin Luo came up with based on the Red Alert game. Therefore, after painstaking research, he finally succeeded in replicating this magnetic blast infantry. It was not just the power of science and technology. In order to drive these equipment, the mutant's ability had to be used as an energy source. And the island did not have much, but there were many mutants. Bai Lin Luo did not let them idle. Usually, he would instruct them to charge the energy core and use it to drive the magnetic blast infantry equipment. However, this magnetic blast infantry was a secret weapon that Bai Lin Luo had tailor-made for the Li family army. He did not want to use it so early. No need. Bai Lin Luo waved his hand. Let them go inside. All right. In the absence of Li Fan, Bai Lin Luo was the supreme commander on the island. His orders had to be obeyed. Susu cancelled the command to the magnetic explosion infantry. At the same time, Abe Kawazum was leading the remaining 5 Special Forces members into the depths of the base. There were rows of automatic machine guns hanging around the base, but for some reason, they had all stopped working and were just standing there motionlessly. Strange, why aren't these machine guns working? The captain of the Special Forces was getting more and more uneasy, while Abe Kawazum chuckled. I guess they've already given up in fear after seeing me. Abe Chun-san chuckled. With his powerful spirit-branded retainer, the primitive monkeys on the island would probably be too scared to make a move. However, the leader of the Special Forces did not really believe it. X's body was so important, would the other party give it up just like that? Although Abe Chun-san was strong, he shouldn't have been able to scare the other party off just like that, right? But no matter what, the mission was more important. No matter what, he had to get back X's body. The 4 of them carried their weapons and rushed to the last room. In front of the room sat a bald monk. Kill him. The captain gave the order, and one of the team members immediately raised his sniper rifle and fired a shot at the monk in front of him. Bang! The bullet hit the monk's head, creating a spark. The monk touched his head and let out a scream. Oh fuck! Who the fuck shot him? These Special Forces members were all stunned. This was a sniper bullet, not peanuts. Why didn't it have any effect? Nanny! The captain frowned. He immediately raised his carbine rifle and pulled the trigger at the monk. Bullets rained down, but when they landed on the monk's body, they were all blocked. His skin seemed to be made of steel. No matter what bullet it was, it had no effect. Dynamiter. A Special Forces soldier picked up an RPG and fired a rocket at the monk. Boom. The rocket directly hit the monk's body, and the flames quickly engulfed him. This time, he should be dead, right? No matter who it was, they wouldn't be able to withstand the bombardment of a rocket. The monks of China are only SO. Abikawa-san sneered, but when the flames dissipated, he could no longer laugh. The monk was still standing there, his body emitting a faint golden light. However, he looked like he was in pain. Fuck you, this poor monk has no enmity with you. Why did you fire at this poor monk? Bodhi was extremely angry. Recently, he had been locked up in this lousy place, and he was not even allowed to go out and purify female benefactors. He wanted to meditate, but in the end, a bunch of idiots came and shot him in the head with a cannon. The monk had always had a good temper, but after a long time without venting his anger became more and more evil. Now that a bunch of people had come looking for death, he could no longer hold back his anger. Load the armor-piercing bullets. The captain gave the order. Then he and the other 3 team members loaded the armor-piercing bullets. But at this moment, Bodhi put his palms together and took a step forward. At the same time, he shouted, "Buddhist lion's roar." This loud shout set off a huge golden wave, directly hitting the 4 Special Forces members, blowing them all away, heavily smashing into the wall behind them. This lion's roar was merciless. The 4 Special Forces members were immediately smashed into flesh and blood, scattering everywhere. Under the protection of the Ghost Warrior, Abikawa-san was lucky to survive. Nanny, Abikawa-san was a little surprised. He looked through the gap in the Ghost Warrior's armor and examined the monk in front of him. "Who are you?" Abikawa-san asked in stiff Mandarin. "I am your Buddha." Bodhi took a step forward and stomped his left foot on the ground. The base trembled, and Abikawa-san calmed down. This was a Chinese martial practitioner? Just a mere Shina martial practitioner. "Do you really think you can fight against me?" Abikawa-san snorted coldly, then formed a talisman in his hand. The Ghost Warrior suddenly disappeared into the black fog, but in the next second, the black fog appeared behind Bodhi, holding a black samurai sword, and slashed at the back of Bodhi's neck. Ding! The samurai sword slashed at the back of Bodhi's neck, but nothing happened. Instead, the katana was bounced back. Invincible golden body? Abikawa-san's heart jumped when he saw this. "Oh, you little Japanese know your stuff." Bodhi was a little surprised. "This poor monk thought you didn't know. Our Japan also has a martial arts culture. Furthermore, it is more advanced and prosperous than your Shina. In the early years, when the 4 olds were destroyed, a lot of Chinese culture declined, and even suffered serious destruction. The once vigorous Chinese martial arts culture also came to an end because of this. Only a few sects and big clans still survived, but compared to the era of the martial practitioners, it was completely incomparable." Chapter 9:17. In China during the Republic of China era, martial artists who had reached the peak of perfection were everywhere. Going further back, during the Ming and Qing dynasties, there were grandmasters everywhere. And even further back, especially during the Tang and Song dynasties, there were experts who were even more powerful than grandmasters. They were known as saints, and their full name was Extraordinary Saint. But now, Extraordinary Saint had completely disappeared. Furthermore, there was no mental cultivation technique that could allow one to reach the Extraordinary Saint level. According to the legends, one could become a grandmaster with the strength of 10 dragons. And to enter the Extraordinary Saint level, one needed at least the strength of 100 dragons. No one in the pugilistic world could do it. Even Imperial concubine Zhou said that she only had the strength of 20 dragons at her peak. Right now, she only had half of her previous strength. There were no more saints appearing during the Ming and Qing dynasties. They had already become a legend in the pugilistic world. In China now, grandmasters were as rare as phoenix feathers and unicorn horns. There were still many who had reached the peak, but they were not considered prosperous. But in Japan, it was said that there were still many grandmasters who were still alive. Every grandmaster of a generation was a treasure of Japan. It was said that the country always gave them subsidies, hoping that they would come out and teach. But in China, these grandmasters were either hidden deep in the mountains or were the heads of aristocratic families. They were controlled by the country. Those who did not follow the control did not have a good ending. Abe Kawazi had seen a lot of experts in Japan, but even in Japan, this invincible golden body kung fu had already been lost. "Tell me the method of this technique, and I'll spare your life." Abe Kawaz was still confident and even forced Subhuti to tell him the technique. "Sorry, this poor monk's invincible golden body has just reached the 6th level. It is the invincible golden body." Subhuti reminded, It seems a little difficult for you to kill this poor monk. Is that so? Ape Kawaz laughed coldly. He stretched out his hand and pointed. The ghost warrior once again walked out of the black fog. The blade was wrapped in black light as it fiercely stabbed towards Subhudi's heart. Just in time. Subhudi clasped his palms together and used both of his hands to block the blade before twisting it. Kacha! The katana was twisted into 2 pieces. Pudi shouted again. The Buddhist lion's roar hit the ghost warrior's body squarely. The ghost warrior was also unable to withstand this roar, and his body was directly blown away, falling to the ground in the distance. Sorry, this road is blocked. Subhudi was the final line of defense here. No one would be able to pass through it. Now that he had reached the 6th stage of the invincible golden body, he was even more fleshy than before. Bai Lin Luo regarded him as his final guardian. Damn it, Abe Kazo never expected the monk to be so tanky. Invincible golden body, he wanted this martial art even more. It was too much of a pity to leave this kind of kung fu in China. They should bring it back to their island country. Hand it over or you'll die. Abe Kawazo took out 2 talismans. Combining the 2 talismans into one would make the effects of the Shikigami even stronger. Ghost warrior. Kill him. The ghost warrior seemed to have eaten a big tonic, the black light on his body blazed, and the broken Tai Dao in his hand was restored to its original state. Your time of death has come. As Abe Kawazo spoke, he urged his ghost warrior to take out a red Tai Dao and use the dual blade style to attack Subhudi. The ghost warrior's Tai Dao carried a special energy, and like a pair of scissors, it directly cut towards Subhudi's neck. Subhudi stretched out his hands and pushed outwards, using his own hands to grab the 2 Tai Dao. Abe Kawazo frowned. He did not expect that his strengthened ghost warrior was still unable to do anything to this Shina monk. How is this possible? I am an elite of Japan. It is impossible for me to lose to a Shina monk. I must defeat you. Abe Kawazo roared, bit his tongue, and spat out a mouthful of black blood on his ghost warrior's body. The ghost warrior roared again, and his body became even stronger. 6 arms popped out from his back, a total of 8, all grabbing the Tai Dao and attacking Subhudi together. Dang! The 8 Tai Daos slashed on Subhudi's body, but only sparks flew. What a fool! Subhudi sighed. Your attack is not strengthened, what's the use of just growing arms? Fool! As Subhudi spoke, a Vajra hand pierced into the ghost warrior's head. Bang! The ghost warrior's head was directly pierced through, and his body immediately turned into black smoke, slowly dissipating. Benefactor, I'm really sorry. After getting rid of the ghost warrior, Subhudi turned to look at Abe Kawazo. Your Shikigami has been crippled by this poor monk. Flaring sun curse. Abe Kawazo threw out 3 fire talismans, throwing them towards Subhudi's face. Subhudi swung his hand to send the 3 fire talismans flying, and saw Abe Kawazo fleeing far away. This is not a place where you can come and go as you please. As Subhudi spoke, he stretched out his hands and slammed them on the ground. Abe Kawazo was busy running away, but a burst of true chi suddenly burst out from his feet, attacking his body. Abe Kawazo's body was immediately sent flying, heavily hitting the ceiling, and then fell to the ground. His head hit the ground and he screamed in pain. Subhudi picked him up and carried him on his shoulder. I'm sorry, but you can't leave for the time being. Subhudi said, I reckon our military advisor Bai still has a lot of things to ask you. Stay for a few more days, our Li family island is very hospitable. Bastard, let me go. You filthy bastard, how can you touch me? Abe Kawazo roared with all his might. Silence. Subhudi slapped him on the head, knocking him out. This guy needs to be interrogated properly. Who knows, he might have some useful information. When Abe Kawazo woke up, he was lying in a pitch-black house. There was nothing in this house, and it was pitch black all around. He could only hear his own breathing and the faint sound of his heartbeat. Flare curse. Abe Kawazo tried to light up the place, but he discovered that his spiritual power was gone. Without spiritual power, he would not be able to escape from here. Someone, you Chinaman dogs, Let me out immediately. Abe Kawazo roared angrily. At this moment, a ray of light suddenly appeared in front of him, like the radiance of hope. The light slowly magnified, and the door was opened. A fair-skinned man wearing glasses stood there. Beside him stood the monk Subhuti, and on the other side stood a young and beautiful woman. The three of them were looking at him. "You bunch of Chinaman dogs, what are you looking at? Have you never seen such a handsome young master before? If you look again, I will dig out your eyes." Abe Kawazo was still as arrogant as ever, and his words were filled with disrespect. "If you have the ability, let the young master out. Young master will kill all of you." Abe Kawazo was chained there, unable to move, and could only curse. Chapter 9:18. You are from the ape family, right? Bai Lin Luo was not angry. He stood there and looked at Abe Kawaz, who was locked in the small black room, and asked leisurely, "Young master is your grandfather?" Abe Kawaz was rather courageous. He kept on laughing and scolding, which made Susu a little unhappy. "Aren't you afraid of pain?" Susu suddenly asked. "Young master is of course not afraid of pain. Come on, be willing to be cut and cut, do as you please." Young master didn't even call out, he only knows how to feel good. Abe Kawaz roared arrogantly. Bai Lin Luo gently covered his eyes, as if he could not bear to see the next scene. Susu stretched out her right hand and clenched it fiercely towards Abe Kawaz. "Ow!" Abe Kawaz let out a strange roar, his expression was extremely distorted, and his eyeballs seemed to be about to burst out. "Baka, baka." Abe Kawaz's face was full of cold sweat. He wanted to curl up, but because of the iron chain, he could not curl up, and could only silently endure that kind of heart-wrenching pain. "How is it, does it feel good?" Susu asked. Abe Kawaz held back his words for a long time and did not say it out. Amaterasu got above. "What kind of ability is this? It's too deceptive. If it feels good, I can give you another one." Susu said. Abe Kawaz gritted his teeth, looking like he was still a little unconvinced. "Good, good, good." Susu smiled, she specialized in all kinds of unconvinced. Susu stretched out her hand and clenched it into a fist again. Abe Kawaz's face was extremely distorted, and he let out a silent scream. This kind of pain, to a man, was simply too terrifying. Even if Abe Kawaz was a tough guy, he could not bear this kind of pain. He even wanted to die, but he could not do it now. He did not know what this chain was made of, but it completely suppressed his spiritual power. After enduring that kind of pain that almost made him transcend, Susu finally stopped. Abe Kawaz's face was full of cold sweat, hanging there, panting heavily, in extreme pain. "How is it, do you still want to do it?" Susu asked. "No, no more, no more." Abe Ichino finally gave in. It was too painful. He couldn't take it anymore. "Alright, tell me, how did you find this place?" Subhuti brought a chair over for Bai Lin Luo. Bai Lin Luo sat down on it, staring intently at Abe Kawanzo. "I don't want to say it." Susu, make him speak. Bai Lin Luo ordered. "All right." Susu stretched out her hand. No. No matter how much of a man Abe Kawaz was, he wouldn't be able to withstand the pain of his balls exploding. "Are you willing to talk now?" Bai Lin Luo adjusted his glasses. "I'm quite patient, and I have plenty of time. I can listen to you slowly. You stupid Chinese people, don't think that you can occupy X's body forever. This is a precious treasure that belongs to Japan. Only our Yamato people deserve it. Come on, give him another hit," Bai Lin Luo said expressionlessly. "With pleasure." Susu raised her hand again. No. Please don't. "Then can you restrain yourself a little?" Bai Lin Luo asked. "Yes, I can." Abe Kawanzo was convinced. "Alright, tell me, how did you find this place?" Omniscient formation. Abe Kawanzo was much more well-behaved now. "As long as we sacrifice the flesh and blood of 3 spirit chi users, we can find anything we want." Such a vicious technique? Bai Lin Luo had looked up some information. When there were still necromancers in China, they had invented some techniques. However, they were all lost now. A portion of them flowed into Japan and were inherited by them. So, It won't be long before they find me. Abe Kawanzo continued, at that time, none of you will be able to escape. You better stop dreaming. Bai Lin Luo analyzed this matter for Abe Kawanzo. Do you think that they sent you here because you are strong? No. You are mistaken. They sent you here to use you as cannon fodder. Nonsense, I am the pride of the Onmyoji clan. The pride of the Onmyoji clan are all direct descendants. As for you, don't forget, you are a collateral descendant. They sent you here to use you as cannon fodder to test the level of defense here. No, that's impossible. That's impossible. Abe Kawanzo's expression seemed to be on the verge of collapse. I am truly sorry for shattering your fantasies. Bai Lin Luo apologized. However, what I love the most is to pull people back to the painful reality. Our Japan's 3 major clans are very powerful. Do you think a small island like yours can fight against us? You can try. Bai Lin Luo's development on Li Clan Island could be considered to be not bad. Even if Long Qingyun were to revive and bring people to attack Li Clan Island, he would not be afraid. Just the magnetic explosion infantry that he secretly created was enough to cause trouble for outsiders. Furthermore, Bai Lin Luo had also developed a set of higher-level equipment. He roped in a few scientists on the island and based on their superpowers, he was currently developing a set of equipment for mutants. Wearing this set of equipment, in addition to their ability cores, even an ordinary person would be able to possess powerful combat strength. Bai Lin Luo was very satisfied with his 2 researches. These 2 researches would allow him to increase Li Fan's powerful combat equipment. This way, Li Fan would no longer be fighting alone. Why are you guys interested in X's body? Bai Lin Luo asked. X is the strongest mutant in this world, and the first one. The superpower in his body can also be converted into spiritual energy. As long as we have it, we can break the seal and summon a powerful god-rank Shikigami. At that time, the entire world will belong to our Yamato nation. What great ambition! Bai Lin Luo looked at Abe Kawanzo. You guys are trying to stir up trouble, little brother. Heh, aren't you guys the same? Abe Kawanzo laughed coldly. You guys placed X's body here to conduct secret research. Isn't it the same to obtain a weapon that can conquer the world? Oh, I won't refute that. Bai Lin Luo admitted. However, we weren't the ones who developed it. It was someone else. The place that you guys discovered is actually not where the real X is stored. We had long expected that there would be some sort of detection superpower. Therefore, we placed a small part of X there and isolated the rest in a place that will definitely not be discovered. Bai Lin Luo's calculations were flawless. Your little tricks won't be able to escape my calculations. Abe Kawanzo suddenly felt a little afraid. Who exactly was this clean and white youth? Lock him up. He's useless now. Abe Kawanzo watched as the door slowly closed. Darkness enveloped him, as though fear was surging into his heart. No, don't lock me up, don't. He could faintly hear a cry for help, but Bai Lin Luo turned a blind eye to it. Instead, he instructed Susu. Get someone to send a message to Li Fan. There might be some movements in Japan. Chapter 9:19. Meanwhile, Li Fan of a city had just finished his first mock exam. The principal was having a meeting in the school's education bureau. He was exchanging his teaching experience with Li Fan's transcript. This student needs to be guided, not punished. Look, this student is a typical case. I didn't stop him from puppy love. Instead, I encouraged him to study and made a 50-point bet with him. Look at this exam paper, he did improve by 50 points, and I believe that he still has room for improvement. Li Fan didn't know that he had fallen into the principal's trap. He was now walking to the escort agency with Lin Yuichisin. Look, I told you that I'm so smart. It's just 50 points. Isn't it easy? Humph, just you. If I didn't drug you, how could you improve by 50 points? Lin Ying curled her lips at the side. Li Fan had become arrogant. Next time, I'll improve by 100 points. Why don't you go to hell? Lin Ying rolled her eyes while Li Fan laughed. I'm kidding. Li Fan put his arm around Lin Yuichen's shoulder. If I improve too much and get into the same school as you, won't I be finished? What did you say? Li Fan felt a murderous aura. Nothing. It's really a joke. I'm satisfied with 560 points. Why do you have so little backbone? Lin Yuan was a little unhappy. Can't you get a higher score? You know my level. Li Fan pointed to his temple. Don't you know what my brain is like? I'm just a normal person, unlike you, whose brain seems to have been enlightened. Go to hell, whose brain seems to have been enlightened. Lin Yuan rolled her eyes. It's obviously because you're too stupid. Really? Li Fan was depressed. It's not my fault. Normal people are at this level, okay? All of you are too disappointing. Lin Yuan said sarcastically, you're not paying attention at all. Although you don't have the talent, you can still work harder. My dear girlfriend. Li Fan felt wronged. Is it because I don't want to work hard? I can't split myself up. Anyway, it's the last few months. There aren't even 100 days left. Lin Yuan advised, you should study hard during this period of time. Don't worry about the escort agency for now. The escort agency's affairs have been handed over to Mr. Big Dipper and little senior sister Xia Yi. Li Fan moved his shoulders. I have to give it my all in this last period of time. That's good. You're worthy of praise. Lin Yuan sat on Li Fan's back seat, swinging her little feet. The snow around them had stopped at some point. There was still snow on the ground, but Li Fan rode the bicycle steadily without swaying at all. Darkness came early in winter, so the sky was already completely dark. The two of them were riding on a secluded path, and the surrounding streetlights were slightly dim. Don't you feel that the road today is especially long? Li Fan asked as he rode. You think being with me is like passing a day like a year? Fuck, that's not what I meant. Li Fan broke out in a cold sweat. This girl, Lin Yuan, is always sensitive when she shouldn't be. No, I shouldn't say her. It seems like all women are like this. What strange creatures. Then what do you mean? Usually, we can finish this road in about 10 minutes by bike. Lin Yuan looked down at her watch. We've been walking for half an hour today? Li Fan nodded. There's something strange. Be careful. Got it. Lin Yuan saw that Li Fan had become cautious, so she obediently listened. Who is this expert? Come out and meet me. Li Fan asked in a loud voice. Just as Li Fan finished asking, someone indeed started to speak. However, he was babbling and didn't seem to be speaking in Chinese. Li Fan frowned, and Lin Yuan immediately translated for him. The other party said that they are from the Abe family. Abe, what the hell? Li Fan stepped on the brakes, stood on the ground, and looked in the direction of the voice. Tell him, little Japanese, hurry up and come out to talk. It was unknown where Lin Yuan learned Japanese from, but she spoke very fluently, freely conversing with the person hiding in the dark. Li Fan said that he even brought an instant translation. Too awesome, this is what a big boss of an escort company should be like. The other party said that he wants you to hand over X's body. Lin Yuan said a lot to the other party, and then told Li Fan, otherwise he will trap us in this illusion forever. Motherfucker. Li Fan naturally knew what X was, but it was impossible for him to hand it over. The other party said that this is an illusion that he meticulously created. Without his permission, we will never be able to leave this place. Is that so? Li Fan smiled, and gathered the qi in his dantian, and then spewed it out from his mouth. Lion's roar. With a loud roar, the golden qi rushed forward, and like a piece of paper, the space in front was directly shattered. Snowflakes began to fall again. Obviously, they had returned to the original world. Nanny? This time, without the translation, Li Fan already understood. Little Japanese, your evil arts are still far from enough. Li Fan smiled coldly. No matter what kind of art or superpower it was just a form of energy. Since it was energy, it could not escape the impact of his qi. The other party is very surprised. Lin Yuan translated. Yes, I can feel it. Li Fan shouted, what other methods do you have? Use them all. He said that he is different from those useless ninjas, he is a onmyoji expert, and has a powerful shikigami. Lin Yixin translated at the same time. He said that he wants to kill you. Ask that idiot to come out. He said he can't come out. Fuck, then Laozi will pull him out. Li Fan was enraged. This little Japanese is too arrogant. He turned around and stretched out his hand towards the street lamp. Dragon Toad Absorption. A man wearing a black and white robe was pulled out and fell to the ground. Li Fan pulled again, and that man was pulled in front of Li Fan, and then Li Fan punched him. Pooh! This man turned into a paper man and was smashed by Li Fan. Some boring evil arts. Li Fan snorted coldly and continued to look for the Onmyoji. But this time, the Onmyoji was smart and hid his aura and disappeared without a trace. At the same time, from the sky, a huge bronze statue suddenly fell. This bronze statue was more than 4 meters tall, and it was full of power. It raised its foot and stomped down on Li Fan. Be careful! Lin Yun saw this huge thing and was shocked. But Li Fan only stretched out his right hand and held the bronze statue's foot. This is a Shikigami? Li Fan let out a sneer. Chapter 920. Impossible! The Yin-Yang master who was hiding his aura was shocked when he saw this scene. Although a Shikigami was a form of energy, the weight of this bronze statue was real. His foot weighed at least 2 tons, and it was actually stopped by a human's outstretched hand? Don't underestimate the power of a Chinese martial artist, idiot. As Li Fan spoke, his palm directly crushed the foot of the bronze statue. Then he bounced off the ground and jumped up, parallel to the head of the bronze statue. Lightning kick. Li Fan's foot flashed with lightning as he kicked the bronze statue's head, directly shattering it. The bronze statue took 2 steps back and fell to the ground. Then, it slowly turned into black smoke and disappeared into the night sky. Shikigami? That's all. Li Fan was disdainful. At that moment, another voice was heard. You're very powerful. Li Fan turned around and saw a man in a kimono suddenly jumping down from a street lamp. At the same time, he grabbed a katana with both hands and slashed at Li Fan's head like lightning. Good one. Li Fan's eyes lit up when he saw this person. He directly hit the tiger with his fist and punched the other party's chest before the katana could land on him. Bang! The man was sent flying. He did a somersault in the air and stabilized his footing. However, the man threw a few energy blades at Li Fan. Li Fan used the crane's hand to deflect the energy sabers. His right hand was numb and trembling slightly. The energy of the energy blades was not light. The man's strength was at least at the peak of perfection, and he was close to a grandmaster. There were many experts in Japan. It was not a lie. I'm Takeda Chong. The warlock was wearing a kimono and holding a katana. He stood there in a fighting stance and said to Li Fan, "The Takeda family is one of the 3 major families in Japan." Lin Yuthan also looked up some information and remembered it clearly. This is the swift gale saber in my hand. Be careful, sir. As Takeda Chong spoke, he took a step forward and slashed down vertically with the big quick blade in his hand. It was as if the heavens and earth were about to be split apart. Li Fan felt a terrifying pressure, making him feel as if he didn't dare to face this move head-on. Li Fan, who had always been charging forward, actually took a step to the side this time. Whoosh! The energy saber whizzed past him, and a truck parked behind him was sliced in half by the saber. It was a clean cut. Li Fan felt that he had just brushed shoulders with the Grim Reaper. This sharp saber technique was not to be underestimated. Sir, please give it your all. Takeda Chong begged. This is a sacred competition. All right. Li Fan nodded. It seems that in the island countries, martial arts competition is also a sacred thing. Especially for these pedantic warriors, they should be more willing to abide by the rules. However, Li Fan didn't have the qualifications to criticize others. In this aspect, he was also very pedantic. Li Fan extended his hand and pulled out the extraordinary sword from behind him. With a shake of his hand, the black sword popped out and was held in Li Fan's hand. Then I'll use my sword to practice with your saber. But as far as I know, the martial art that you're best at shouldn't be swordsmanship, right? Takeda Chong asked. 10,000 arts returned to 1. Li Fan pointed his sword at Takeda Chong. No matter what move it is, in the end, it's just one move. I'm impressed by your state of mind. Takeda Chong said sincerely, I hope that you can block my saber technique, 7 men slash. As Takeda Chong spoke, he waved his saber. Takeda Chong was still standing at the same place, but a black shadow appeared in front of Li Fan. The long saber in his hand was raised and swept towards Li Fan's shoulder. Clang. In a panic, Li Fan used his crane hand to block. He was forced to take a step back, and the black shadow slowly disappeared. Takeda Chong was still waving his saber, but another black shadow flew over and quickly slashed at Li Fan's neck. This time, Li Fan was prepared. With a beating the tiger, he smashed the black shadow. Good. Takeda Chong seemed to be very excited. He continued to wave his saber. One after another, shadows appeared in front of Li Fan and quickly waved his saber. Unable to make a quick move, Li Fan finally raised his extraordinary sword and continuously hit the shadows. Although the shadows were constantly being smashed, Li Fan's body was also constantly being repelled. Your sword technique doesn't seem to be outstanding. Takeda Chong sighed. Why don't we use your fist technique to determine the winner? Sorry, I let you look down on my sword technique. With a flick of his hand, Li Fan threw the extraordinary sword into the air and spun in front of him. Using true chi to control the sword? But this is not a superb sword technique. You may not believe it, but this sword is alive. Li Fan pointed to his extraordinary sword. It can automatically protect me. Your Excellency is too good at talking big. Takeda Chong frowned. I don't like people who talk big. Is that so? Why don't you give it a try? 7 men slash. Takeda Chong transformed into 7 black shadows and appeared around Li Fan, slashing at him together. However, the extraordinary sword above Li Fan's head immediately dropped 7 sword shadows and automatically hit the 7 black shadows, breaking them one by one. Takeda Chong was taken aback. He turned conservative and once again slashed his saber. The black shadows appeared one after another. But every time the black shadow came to Li Fan's side, the sword shadow would fall again and pierce the black shadow. What sword technique is this? Takeda Chong was a little shocked. This was the first time he saw this kind of sword technique. Dog beating sword. Li Fan said with a smile. You scolded me? Takeda Chong was a little unhappy. You came to my territory to cause trouble, and you want me to love you. Li Fan said and pointed at Takeda Chong with his right hand. A sword shadow immediately flew toward Takeda Chong. Takeda Chong immediately waved his long saber and hit the sword shadow. You can't hurt me with just this. Takeda Chong coldly snorted. Is that so? Unknowingly, Li Fan was standing in front of Takeda Chong, holding the sword shadow in his hand and thrusting it toward Takeda Chong's heart. Takeda Chong frowned. He had just blocked a sword shadow and was now wide open. There was no way for him to block this move. However, Takeda Chong was an expert after all. He forcefully stepped on his feet and flew backward, barely dodging Li Fan's sword. Mr. Takeda, your kung fu is indeed good. Li Fan held the sword shadow and said with a smile, Do you still look down on my sword technique? Your Excellency's sword technique is very powerful. Takeda Chong was a little convinced. Thank you for your advice. But you still have to die. As Takeda Chong spoke, his whole body suddenly turned into a white shadow, and then the saber light became faster and faster, once again launching a quick attack toward Li Fan. Li Fan turned around and kicked Takeda Chong, sending him flying backward. Chapter 9:21. You're not welcome here, you can scram now. Li Fan coldly said. You're an expert, I like experts. Takeda Chong once again clenched his katana. I'm going to use this katana to kill you to show my respect. You might be a little crazy. Li Fan could not help but scold. Quickly scram. I'll kill you, then I can leave. Takeda Chong said. His body brought out 7 shadows and attacked Li Fan together with the 7 shadows. Li Fan, be careful. Lin Yun saw Takeda Chong's ferocious attack and could not help but warn Li Fan. Don't worry, it's a small matter. Li Fan's hands suddenly pushed forward and the palm wind directly rushed out. The powerful palm wind struck the bodies of these black shadows. Before the black shadows reached them, they were all smashed to pieces. At the same time, a powerful palm wind slammed into Takeda Chong's body. However, Takeda Chong's long saber slashed down, breaking Li Fan's palm wind. Then, Takeda Chong arrived before Li Fan. A head-on chop. Takeda Chong's katana is indeed as fast as the wind, as fierce as thunder. Li Fan's true chi gathered in his eyes, trying to see the weakness of Takeda Chong's katana. But Takeda Chong is also a very strong expert, he has no weakness. Then let's do it the hard way. Li Fan's body shook, and the golden great god of war immediately popped out from his back. The great god of war's body is huge, and his left hand made a qilin palm, which hit Takeda Chong's body first. And Takeda Chong's katana also swung down. Bam! Takeda Chong was like a fly being swatted. He was swatted to the ground, creating a deep pit, and then rolled to the side, vomiting blood from his mouth. While the great god of war was cut in half, Li Fan's shoulder also has a bloodstain. Obviously, he was hit by the katana. His shoulder seems to have been cut in half. If not for the great god of war helping him, coupled with his thick true chi foundation, I'm afraid he would have been cut in half. Fuck me, he's really awesome. Li Fan stretched out his hand and touched his wound. It was quite painful. It seemed like the wound was quite deep. Your Excellency, your inner force is strong. We admit defeat. Takeda Chong was lying on the ground, vomiting blood. His 5 viscera and 6 bowels were injured, and he basically couldn't survive. A battle between experts was decided by a single thought. His one move had injured the deepest part of his body. Takeda Chong did not regret it at all. As a martial arts student, he naturally had to die for martial arts. It was a pity that he couldn't contribute to the rise of Yamato. Although your martial arts are high, there are thousands of experts in Japan. I'm just a small fry among them. Chu Takeda vomited blood as he said to Li Fan, "One day, you will die in the hands of the Japanese masters. Hand over the secret of X as soon as possible. Then you can live. Let them bring it on." Li Fan laughed. "No matter how many come, we'll kill them all." "You're too arrogant, I won't kill you." As Li Fan spoke, he forcefully opened Takeda Chong's mouth and poured a rejuvenation pill into his mouth, allowing Takeda Chong's body to quickly heal. "You can slowly watch and see how I destroy these so-called experts of your island." Li Fan said without any trace of politeness, "Go back and tell the people from the 3 major families that as long as I'm here in China, whoever dares to cross the line, I'll kill without mercy." After saying that, Li Fan no longer cared about Takeda Chong. Instead, he straightened his bicycle and waved at Lin Yi. "Darling, let's go." "I'm coming." Lin Yun swayed her ponytail as she skipped behind Li Fan and sat on the back seat. "Goodbye, I hope we won't meet again." As Li Fan rode his bicycle, he waved his hand without looking back and left. Takeda Chong's injuries had already healed a little. He knelt on the ground and looked at Li Fan's disappearing figure, his body slightly trembling. This Chinese expert is a little scary. He's not only strong in martial arts, but also in his heart. Takeda Chong crawled up, walked to the side in a sorry state, and took out his phone to make a call. "I'm sorry. I failed." Takeda Chong's face was full of shame as he apologized to the person on the phone. "Yes, I'm sorry to the Takeda family, I'm sorry to the emperor. The enemy is too strong, I'm not his opponent." "Hey, I know." Takeda Chong put down the phone, knelt down, took off his kimono, pulled out a small katana, aimed at his lower abdomen, and fiercely stabbed it. Committing suicide was the only way for a defeated samurai to wipe out his shame. Samurai of the Japan and Yin Yang master? After hearing what Li Fan said, Ling Tian pondered for a moment. "This is your Jianghu's matter, I don't have any good ideas." "They're here for X." Li Fan frowned. "Looks like these guys from the Japan are already planning to openly rob. Counter soldiers with arms, water with an earth weir." Yen Kai said bluntly, "Why are you afraid of these Japanese?" "I'm not afraid, I'm worried that they'll do something that's not good for the people around us. Li Fan said, these people are already extremely vicious. Just as Ling Tian was about to speak, his phone suddenly rang. Yo, the devil's incarnation is back. Oh? Tofu is back? Li Fan glanced at the stairs. After offending Lu Xinan last time, the devil's incarnation was sent out by him to handle some matters, while at the same time avoiding Lu Xinan, so that she wouldn't be angry at the devil's incarnation. Li Fan sent the devil's incarnation to the extraordinary escort agency in the imperial capital, and let Big Brother Dong Yi take care of him for a while. The escort agency was short of manpower these few days, so he came back just in time. This guy, he's probably messed up again. Xiaoho couldn't help but sigh. Thinking about the slovenly devil's incarnation, he couldn't help but worry. Anyway, when he comes back, he needs to take a shower immediately. Yang Shuiwei hurriedly added. Aren't you guys being too harsh on him? Li Fan couldn't help but want to laugh. Of course not. Everyone's been very tolerant of him, okay? Thinking about the devil's incarnation who would pick his feet while eating, everyone felt a headache. Soon, a tall and strong figure walked up the stairs. Everyone was stunned when they saw him. They saw a handsome man dressed neatly in a black suit walk in. Boss, I'm back. He greeted Li Fan politely. Li Fan rubbed his eyes. Fuck, who the fuck are you? Li Fan asked hurriedly. Boss, it's me, Tofu Wang. The man pointed at himself and said. Are you fucking kidding me? Everyone was trembling. Boss, I've completed my training in the imperial capital. I'll definitely serve you well in the future and won't cause trouble for you anymore. The man said and bowed deeply to Li Fan. Chapter 9:22. Li Fan doesn't wear his glasses. If he did, he would probably be scared to death. Fuck me, is this the devil incarnate? They're two completely different people, right? You really? Wang Tofu? Give me, boss. Wang Do opened the canvas bag at the back and took out his beloved 38 styles from inside. With this gun, it proves his identity even more. He is undoubtedly the devil incarnate. Especially the way he looks at the gun, it's like he's looking at his beloved woman. Boss, Brother Dong also asked me to bring some news over. Wang Tofu says as he hurriedly closes the curtains around him. He even takes out his phone and plays a video for Li Fan. There are no outsiders around, so Wang Tofu dares to play this part. Li Fan, before you play this recording, you must ensure that the people around you are people you trust. Dong Yi is a more cautious person. He immediately says, you must not let outsiders see this recording, otherwise, your life will be in danger. Li Fan doesn't understand, what is this Brother Dong up to this time? Li Fan, Zhou Tai has already been secretly arrested. No one knows about this. Dong Ye's words made Li Fan's heart jump. He immediately looks at Ling Tian. Ling Tian also shakes his head, his eyes filled with shock. It's said that the higher-ups have already made an exchange agreement with Japan and America. They've gotten quite a lot of benefits from the two countries, and then developed X. So, Li Family Island might not be able to hold on. Li Fan remembers that Li Family Island's contract is still with him and heaves a sigh of relief in his heart. As long as the country doesn't have the right to take it back, it's fine. Although they won't do this openly, they will definitely put pressure on you from behind. As long as X is with you, it will be hard for you to start in China. In order to ensure the business here in the capital, the branch agency here will temporarily leave and hang the banner of the Beijing escort agency. Dong Yi makes a move. This can ensure that the branch agency won't be destroyed, and when the main agency is in trouble, it can also help. We're brothers, I won't sell you out, so I won't explain any further. After Dong Yi instructed Li Fan to be more careful, the video was automatically destroyed. Does this mean that we have completely severed ties with the government? Huang Lei was a little dumbfounded. He thought for a long time and suddenly asked. Not really. Li Fan waved his hand. The government obviously doesn't want to fall out with us, so they haven't done anything yet. X is with us and well hidden. If they want it back, they will naturally want to negotiate with me. Then should we agree? Huang Lei asked. Of course not. Li Fan chuckled coldly. X was originally produced because of me, and it was me who painstakingly transported it to Li Family Island. I have no problem with developing our own country. But if you want to cooperate with the Japanese to develop it, that's impossible. There's no need to hate each other so much. What era is it now? Not everyone in Japan is bad. Lin Yuichisign reminded Li Fan. That's right, but right now the country is dominated by the right-wing forces. They have always wanted to start a war with us. You've also seen the people from the three major families. To be able to instruct the three major families to start a war with us, are we still going to give in to them? From a development point of view, using mutual benefits to trade is the best way. Ling Tian leaned towards the stable side. We can't let them be so presumptuous. Since they're here, we'll do it. Wang Daodu touched his 38 styles. At this moment, his devil incarnation's aura finally emerged. Although I'm usually quite cowardly, I won't cooperate with the Japanese. Huang Lei curled his lips. Might as well fight it out with them. When I was in school, there were some exchange students from Japan. Hichichi was also listening at the side. She could not help but interrupt. I think they're not bad people. They have a lot of good points, and they're not evil people. There's no need to start a war, right? They're already at our doorstep. How can we back down? Xia Ho maintained the attitude of a war. Didn't the three major families already send people to attack us? The rule of our martial arts world is that whoever attacks us must fight back. That's right. We can't just sit here and wait for death. Although Yen Kai learned Tai Chi, he never valued peace. Instead, he preferred to fight violence with violence. Our agency is already besieged on all sides. Are we still going to fight? Lin Yuisen continued to object. If we keep fighting, the agency will collapse sooner or later. We're an escort agency. Fighting is a common occurrence. Yen Kai pointed at the plaque hanging above his head. On it was written, "A body of righteousness." Fight what should be fought. Don't fight what shouldn't be fought. The few of them quarreled. In the end, Yang Shueiyue could not help but advise them. Everyone, stop arguing. Let's listen to our chief escort. Everyone's gaze fell on Li Fan. Meanwhile, Li Fan was having a headache. He did not know what to do. Given the agency's current state, it was indeed not suitable for them to start a war. However, it was impossible for Japan to get Li Fan to cooperate with them. If Japan had extended an olive branch from the beginning, Li Fan would not have been so stiff with them. However, they had already taken it by force. Hence, they could not blame Li Fan for being unreasonable. Li Fan, you have to understand that we don't have the government's support now. Moreover, we didn't have a good time with Lu Shinan. You didn't ask for a lot of aid from the Lu family. Moreover, the agency in the capital has temporarily left. We're now isolated and helpless. I can support you if you want to fight, but what are we going to fight with? We lack money. Although they made a lot of money after robbing a bank in Japan, most of it was used to research weapons in Li Family Island. The rest was used to expand the agency. Money was not something that could be easily spent. If that's the case, I think. Just as Li Fan was about to speak, Huang Lei suddenly looked at his phone. Big brother, there's news from Li Family Island. The ape family's assault on the base failed. Got it. Li Fan's expression turned stern. It's obvious. Let's fight. All right. This time, Lin Yithan did not say anything else. She was not a stupid woman. Now that things had reached this point, even if they wanted to negotiate, it was impossible. They were just a chess piece of the government. They could be abandoned at any time. I want to take 2 months off. Although it was almost the college entrance examination, Li Fan did not have time to care about it. The enemy was already in front of his nose. Li Fan could not sit still and wait for death. Big brother, what do you plan to do? Just say it. I want to make a trip to Japan and have a talk with the three major families. Chapter 923. A day had passed, and Li Fan had already landed at Jingdong Airport. This time, he didn't come alone. Qin Junhua, Jiang Yi, and Xia Hong were with him. Since the three great families were fighting, Li Fan could not continue to sit still and wait for death. His destination this time was Abe's house in Jingdong. As the oldest Onmyoji family in Japan, Abe Haraki single-handedly created the Abe family to protect Jingdong from the invasion of demons. However, this time, the one who invaded was not a demon, but the little tyrant, Li Fan. "Little senior sister, what are you doing?" When Li Fan saw Xia Ho running into the duty-free shop at the side, he hurriedly asked. "The duty-free shop here is very cheap. Yang Shuiwei and the rest all asked me to bring something back." Xia Ho replied, "Even Shui Wuxin across from us asked me to take care of them." Li Fan broke out in a cold sweat. Damn, they came to fight this time. Why did they make it seem like they were on a shopping trip? Right now, it's the flowering season in Japan. Jiang Yi walked beside Li Fan. In Japan, she did not need to wear that poisonous snake mask. The little girl's exquisite face, coupled with the fact that she was wearing a black and red checkered shirt and a short black skirt, attracted the attention of many people. "I heard that cherry blossoms are blooming all over the ground. It's very beautiful. When we're done with our business, I'll bring you guys to take a look." Li Fan turned his head and looked at Chen Junhua, who was silent. "Don't you want to see cherry blossoms? When will we get the sword?" Chen Junhua was not interested in the cherry blossoms, he only cared about his treasured sword. "Don't worry, someone will send it over later." Their weapons were unable to pass the plane's security check, so Li Fan asked the demon incarnate to smuggle it over. "Little senior sister, hurry up and catch up. It's not too late to buy them when we leave," Li Fan urged Xia Ho. "Io, aren't we afraid that we won't take the air when we leave?" Xia Ho followed reluctantly. She was already carrying several bags of duty-free goods. "Don't worry, we came in an upright manner, so we will naturally return in an upright manner." Li Fan smiled. "We're different from those Japanese. Since we're going to fight, we won't do those shady things." Jiang Yi blinked his eyes and glanced at his master. When he put on the tiger mask, his master was much darker than the Japanese. "It's different this time." Li Fan seemed to have guessed Jiang Yi's thoughts. He stretched out his hand and gently rubbed her hair. "This time, I'm here on behalf of the Huaxia Martial Dao. Our martial way is open and aboveboard." "Yes." Whatever master said was right, Jiang Yi nodded repeatedly. "Boss Li?" In front of him was a fat man in a plaid shirt, squeezing through the crowd. When he saw Li Fan, his eyes immediately turned cold, and he waved at Li Fan. Here. "The people who are picking us up are here." Li Fan led Jiang Yi and the others over. The fat man was at least 200 pounds and he was 1.8 meters tall. He was sweating profusely and panting. "Boss Li, you're finally here. I've been waiting for so long, I've lost weight." The fat man took the luggage from Li Fan's hands and enthusiastically led him out of the airport. "You're Tang Xiao?" Yes, that's me. Tofu told me everything. Don't worry, it's all arranged." This fat man was Wang Tofu's comrade in the army. After retiring, he and Wang Tofu ran a smuggling business. When Li Fan came, he saw a photo of the two of them. Two strong young men standing together, smiling brightly. But looking at the fat man in front of him with a wretched smile, his eyes constantly glancing at Jiang Ye's legs, Li Fan found it hard to associate them together. "Tang Xiao, where are our things?" Li Fan asked. His extraordinary sword, little senior sister's charming sword, and Chen Junhua's heavy sword were all on it. "It's all in the car. Don't worry." Tang Xiao patted his chest, his eyes still fixed on Jiang Ye's thighs. "If you look again, I'll gouge out your eyes," Jiang Yi said with a smile. Tang Xiao shuddered, then reluctantly withdrew his gaze. "Good girl." Jiang Yi was very satisfied. Tang Xiao thought to himself, why is this little girl full of hostility? Li Fan didn't say anything. He understood men. Occasionally he couldn't help but want to look at Jiang Ye's thighs, let alone a wretched fat man. It was fine to just look, but if the fat man dared to touch her, then he wouldn't give Wang Tofu face. "Boss Li, the car is in front." Tang Xiao pointed to the Mercedes MVP in front of them. Li Fan's eyebrows rose. Was this fat man that rich? Tang Xiao walked in front of the Mercedes and opened the door of a minivan behind. "Fuck these stupid cops. I stopped for a while and they still put a ticket on me. When Tang Xiao saw the ticket, he stomped his foot in anger. How much is it? I'll pay for you. Li Fan sat in the car and took out his extraordinary sword from the back, inspecting it as he spoke. Aya, how can we do that? You're our boss, how can we let our boss pay this kind of money? Tang Xiao hurriedly smiled apologetically. He invited them to the car, then got in himself and slowly started the car. He didn't know which antique this car was from, but after a few steps on the accelerator, it emitted a puff 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 sound. Li Fan thought to himself, what the fuck, does this thing burn soybean oil? They're all smugglers, why is this guy so miserable in Japan? Guys, where are we going? Straight to the King Hotel. Li Fan had already booked a hotel in the city center. How many days? In a few days, someone will come to invite us. Li Fan smiled. He believed that the opponent's intelligence work would not be too bad. That's good, this King Hotel is expensive, it's all used to fool foreigners. If it were me, I would recommend you guys to stay in a homestay. This place is very convenient and unique. Fatty said as he drove, I heard that Boss Lee is here to beat up those Japanese experts. You've really made our country proud. I haven't beaten them yet, there's no rush to say that. Aya, it's just a matter of time. I heard from Tofu that your kung fu is very powerful. There are also many experts in Japan. How can they be more than our China? China is vast and has a lot of people. How can the Japanese compare? But the sex industry here is very developed. If boss is interested, how about I take you for a stroll? One more word and I'll cut off your tongue. Jiang Yi was furious when he heard that. Aya, don't say that. Looking at the fatty who was trembling in fear, Li Fan hurriedly advised Jiang Yi, Mr. Tang is only bringing me to appreciate the culture of the island, how can you be so rude? Chapter 924. Yes, 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 experience the customs and culture of the island, and feel the local culture. Tang Xiao hurriedly said. And the main thing is to promote the culture of our great China, and help the girls of the island to solve their problems in life. Li Fan thought for a moment. If it was Huang Lei, he would definitely say that. The reason why he said those two sentences was not because he really wanted to experience the sex industry of the island, but to ease the awkward atmosphere in the car. They were unfamiliar with the island, so they still needed Tang Xiao's help. However, if they could experience the customs and traditions of the island, it would not be bad. Li Fan coughed twice and retracted his improper thoughts. How long until we arrive? Li Fan asked. Soon, soon. Tang Xiao sat on the right and pointed to a building opposite. It's there, the tallest building. I heard that it's the property of the Abe family. Yeah, if it's not their property, I won't live there. Li Fan played with a string of Buddhist beads in his hand, which was bought by Xia Yi at the duty-free shop. Buddhist culture was spread throughout the world, especially in Asia. It was to swagger through the streets. The car quickly arrived at the hotel. The Emperor Hotel had shares in the Abe family, and was also a very famous five-star hotel in the area. Li Fan and the others had just arrived at the lobby and booked a room when someone knocked on the door. Li Fan and the others were driving a presidential suite. Even if they had no money, they had to give them face. How could a dignified Huaxia's gold medal escort stay in the island? Master, someone is knocking on the door. Jiang Yi stood beside Li Fan and was making tea for Li Fan. Chen Junhua stood in the spacious hall, brandishing his heavy sword again and again, training his physical skills. Coming. Under Li Fan's signal, Xia Yi walked to the door and opened it. A beautiful woman wearing a kimono stood outside the door. She bowed deeply to Li Fan. Mr. Li, I am Abe family's Abe Chi. Her eyes seemed to be able to speak, staring at Li Fan as if she wanted to see through Li Fan's heart. Kiko Abe? Li Fan fiddled with the prayer beads in his hand as he looked at the woman in a kimono in front of him. What's the matter? Mr. Li is so young, but he acts like an old man. Looking at Li Fan drinking tea and playing with the prayer beads, Abe Zeno couldn't help but cover her mouth and chuckle. Sorry, sir. I was too rude. I apologize. Seeing Li Fan's unkind gaze, Abe Zico realized that she was a bit rude, so she quickly bowed to Li Fan. It's fine. My mentality has indeed become a little old recently. Li Fan put down the prayer beads and chuckled. Sometimes I forget that I'm still a high school student. Mr. Li, at such a young age, you are already a gold medal escort in China. Abe Zico quickly flattered Li Fan. You are a very great person. So when I heard that you came to Tokyo, the Abe family immediately sent me to pick you up. I hope you can come to my Abe family as a guest. I expected that you would come, but I didn't expect it to be so fast. Li Fan pretended to say, I just arrived here. My body is full of sweat, and I haven't taken a bath yet. He still had to put on airs. We have a natural hot spring at home. It can help you eliminate fatigue and relieve pressure. Abe Zico began to advertise her home. Sounds good. Okay, I'll go with you. Xia Ho and Chen Junhua were sent here as support, so they must stay in the hotel and wait for Li Fan's news. Jiang Yi naturally followed beside Li Fan. Li Fan brought her along to let her gain some experience. Little senior sister, I'll be back soon. Junhua, I'll leave this place to you. Don't worry. Chen Junhua carried his heavy sword. Abe Zico looked at him from afar, and her eyes could not help but light up. Although their Abe family did not know martial arts, this youth's posture was obviously different from the others. He had the demeanor of an expert. The car is already downstairs. Abe Zico stretched out her hand. Please come with me. Li Fan followed the beautiful kimono down the stairs. Sure enough, there was a black Bentley parked downstairs. This made Li Fan think of Muronging. This group of Japanese, they insist on using the same car as Muronging. Really annoying. I've long heard of Sir's name. Seeing you today, you are indeed extraordinary. While sitting in the car, Abe Zico was still trying to flatter Li Fan. Extraordinary? How loud is it? Abe Zico's Chinese was not bad, but Li Fan deliberately made things difficult for her. Abe Zico was also surprised. Obviously, she did not expect Li Fan to ask such a question. Extraordinary should be an idiom. It meant that a person was extraordinary and outstanding. But since this Abe Zico was sent to pick up Li Fan, her public relations ability was naturally unquestionable. She just rolled her eyes and immediately said, naturally, it is resounding throughout the 9 heavens. Otherwise, Mr. Li would not have just arrived here and alarmed our patriarch to ask me to pick you up. Interesting. The corner of Li Fan's mouth slightly rose. He looked at Abe Zico. How is your strength? Abe Zico pointed at the magatama on her neck. There were 4 magatama hanging on it. In our Onmyoji family, the number of magatama represents the level of strength. Oh? Then how many magatama are the most powerful? Abe Zico said, our patriarch is a 5 jade Onmyoji. My brother is also one. But my brother left the Onmyoji family a long time ago. Now, only the patriarch is a 5 jade Onmyoji. He is known as the strongest Onmyoji. Is that so? Li Fan carefully looked at the 4 magatama and the faintly discernible snow-white chest under the magatama. He reluctantly retracted his gaze and said, then you have 4 magatama. That means you are quite big, right? What? I mean, quite powerful? Not bad. Sir, you flatter me. Abe Zico said somewhat shyly, my talent is average, so my level of yin-yang technique is not too good. Well, my talent is also average and my kung fu is not very good. Li Fan followed her words, and Abe Zico's face turned a little red. Mr. Li is joking. This girl really blushed easily. But he did not know if she was really blushing or if she was pretending. If she was pretending, then this woman was too powerful. The more pure a woman was, the more lethal she was to men. We are almost there, Mr. Li. Abe Zico pointed to a large house outside. Li Fan took a look. An antique Japanese-style mansion was quietly standing there, waiting for Li Fan's arrival. Chapter 925. Mr. Li, why did you come to Jingdong? Before getting off the car, Abe Zico couldn't help but finally ask the question in her heart. How can you catch a tiger cub without entering the tiger's den? Li Fan extended his hand and hooked his finger on Abe Zico's chin. What's more, if I don't make a trip here, how can I see a beauty like you? An ominous glint flashed across Abe Zico's eyes, but it was gone in an instant. Her entire person returned to that pitiful look, as if encouraging Li Fan to continue bullying her. Mr. Li, don't be like this. There are too many people here. That's true, there are too many people. Li Fan pushed Abe Zico back onto the chair. Abe Zico was a little surprised. What did this man mean? Why did he look like he wanted to do something bad to her just a moment ago become so serious in the blink of an eye? Abe Zico rolled her eyes and immediately understood. Probing. This youth can't be underestimated. Along the way, he and I have been constantly probing each other. Even at this moment, he still didn't relax his probing. Then Mr. Li, this way please. Abe Zico tidied up her hair and led Li Fan towards the east side of the courtyard. This courtyard was a typical Japanese architecture, giving off the feeling of walking into an anime. This was Li Fan's second time coming to Japan. The first time, he killed a somewhat powerful old man. This time, it will be another big battle. He hoped that it would be smooth, and then he would bring the two girls Xia Yan and Jiang Yi to see the cherry blossoms. Oh, there seems to be a Chen Junhua. Since he went down the mountain to gain experience, then let Tang Xiao bring him to experience the customs of Japan. He was truly a qualified leader. He took such good care of the escorts inside and out. TSK. Jiang Yi followed closely beside Li Fan, as if she was afraid of getting lost. At this time, they arrived in front of a very large house. Abe Zico first bowed to Li Fan. Mr. Li, please wait here for a moment. After saying that, Abe Zico turned around and walked to the front of the room. She knelt on the floor and knocked on the door. Come in. Only then did Abe open the door, revealing a figure inside. There was also a woman sitting inside. She looked like she was in her 30s and was also wearing a kimono. Her appearance was somewhat similar to Abe, but her skin seemed to be better maintained than Abe's. In front of her chest hung 5 jade hooks. Was this the great elder? Patriarch, we've brought him here. Abe said to the woman in front of her. Is this Mr. Li? The woman glanced at Li Fan. Her eyes seemed to be able to see through him. Exactly. Li Fan, at Abe's invitation, took a few steps forward and then knelt on the tatame in front of the woman. Kneeling had long been the etiquette of China during the spring and autumn period and the Warring States period, so Li Fan did not mind. Jiang Yi knelt behind Li Fan, while Abe Jichi knelt beside him, pouring sake for the two of them. Japanese cuisine was placed on the table, but it was not the kind of cheap sushi that only cost a few dollars. It should be high-class cuisine. Do you want to eat or chat? The great elder was holding a tobacco pipe in her hand. She was obviously a beauty, but when she smoked the tobacco pipe, she still had a beautiful temperament. Worthy of being the great elder of the Abe family, this temperament was indescribable. Then let's eat first. Li Fan was not in a hurry. He took the sushi wrapped by Abe Jichi and was about to dip it in the wasabi. The raw material of this sushi is top-grade tuna. It's best to eat it directly. Abe Jichi smiled and said to Li Fan. Is that so? Li Fan stuffed the sushi into his mouth. The taste is good. Jiang Yi, try it too. Yes, master. Jiang Yi picked up the sushi that Li Fan handed over and took a small bite. It's really delicious. Thank you, master. Abe Jichi secretly said in her heart, this thing was prepared by the great elder, and the sushi was made by me. Why is this girl thanking my master? Are you full? The great elder did not speak and just watched Li Fan eat for a long time. This Li Fan was also impolite. Like a whirlwind sweeping away the clouds, he swept away all the food on the plate. It's okay, I'm half full. Li Fan picked his teeth while looking at the great elder. You didn't call me here just to treat me to a meal, right? You're not a guest. The great elder stared at Li Fan and puffed out a smoke ring. I don't want to welcome you. You're so willful, how can you be the great elder? Li Fan could not help but laugh. I'm strong. The great elder faintly said, this old mother doesn't want to be the great elder. This old mother wants to go out and find a man. Abe Jichi quickly coughed twice. What are you coughing for? This old mother is already 30 years old. If I don't find a man, I'll become a warehouse goods. As the great elder spoke, she untied half of her clothes, revealing an arm and shoulder, and half of her milky white chest. Great elder. This is not good. Abe Jichi wanted to stop her. This old mother is hot. The great elder said angrily. Li Fan was a bit dumbfounded looking at her. I'm sorry. Great elder. She's a bit straightforward. Abe Jichi said with a red face. This time she might really be a bit shy. Great elder. I told you before. Okay, there's no outsider here. Don't call me great elder, just call me sister. The great elder smoked a pipe. My name is Abe Haruko, her sister. She pointed at Abe Jichi who was pouring wine at the side. Great elder. There are two outsiders here. That's right. The great elder pointed at herself. Call me great elder. I'm not a member of your family, why should I call you great elder? Li Fan laughed. I'll call you Haruko. You're courting death. Abe Haruko coldly snorted and suddenly pointed at Li Fan. There was a paper man hanging on the wall. That paper man directly pushed with both hands, trying to push Li Fan out. However, Li Fan was unmoved. He still sat there, slowly tasting the sake. Jiang Yi swung his knife, a black light flashed, and the paper man was cut into two halves. Haruko, is this how your Abe family treats guests? I said you're not welcome. Abe Haruko frowned. Okay, then I'll leave. Li Fan ate and drank to his heart's content, patted his butt and was about to leave. Mr. Li, please wait a moment. Abe Jichi anxiously stopped Li Fan. Great elder, can you be a bit more serious? Abe Haruko seemed to be a bit angry. Oh, yeah, I got it. Abe Haruko sighed, as if she was unwilling to do so. Find someone who's willing to talk. Li Fan coldly snorted, I'm going back. Chapter 926. Abe Haruko hurriedly pulled Li Fan's sleeve, and then stared at her sister. Mr. Li, please sit. Abe Haruko's face was stiff, like a robot. Please eat. They were all fucking eaten. Li Fan rolled his eyes. Abe Haruko, why do you hate me so much? You killed so many people in my family, why don't I hate you? Abe Haruko finally found an opportunity, and began to spit out. Her Chinese was quite fluent, and she scolded nonstop. You big idiot, relying on some martial arts, you actually don't put our Abe family in your eyes. Now you even ran in front of us to act like a tyrant? Humph, you retard, do you really think that I don't dare to kill you? Sister. Abe Haruko was about to go crazy. How could she, the big sister, be the head of the family? How could a leader be so impatient? Abe Haruko's expression stiffened again. Let's just talk like this. It's good to talk openly. Li Fan picked up the wine that Jiang Yi poured for him. Speaking of which, big sister, you stayed in the Northeast for a while. This Northeast language is quite fluent. I stayed in the Northeast for a while when I was young. Abe Haruko said. Really, big sister, my hometown is a city. Where are you from? I'm from H City. Io, nice to meet you. Is it cold at home now? Sister. Abe Haruko felt that she was going to vomit blood and die here today. Hey, don't try to confuse me. Abe Haruko immediately reacted and pushed away Li Fan's hand. I hate you, I want to kill you. You can kill me, Li Fan said as he drank, if you can do it. Li Fan, you are too arrogant. There are countless experts in Japan, especially in our Abe family. There are many great onmyoji in Siu. How can you fight against us? Since I'm here today, why don't you pull out all these great onmyoji and let's fight them one by one. Let's see if they can deal with me. Mr. Li, don't get angry so quickly. Seeing that the atmosphere was getting more and more stiff, Abe Jichi quickly interrupted. Since you're here today, you must have the intention to make peace, right? Why don't we discuss the terms first? Little girl, to be honest, I didn't come here to ask for peace. Li Fan laughed heartily. I'm a person who speaks my mind. Your ape family has ambushed us twice. Do you think this matter can be settled? Or do you think that I, Li Fan, am a person without a temper? As Li Fan spoke, he slammed the white porcelain wine cup into the solid wood table. So you're here to start a war? Abe Haruko raised her eyebrows. Exactly. Fuck, then what's the point of eating? Abe Haruko stood up and flipped the table. I was waiting for you to say that. Let's do it. Okay, does the family head plan to fight with me directly? Li Fan caught the wine pot and the wine cup. The taste of this sake was quite good. It would be a pity if he spilled it. Wait. Abe Zico hurriedly shouted from the side, stopping the two aggressive people. What? Don't stop me, I'm going to kill this guy. Abe Haruko's shoulder was bare. A blue ball of light the size of a basketball appeared in her hand. It seemed to be her spiritual power. Li Fan had checked that the size of Onmyoji's spiritual power was determined by the size of the ball. An ordinary person's spiritual power was the size of a ping-pong ball. But this Abe Haruko's attack was the size of a basketball, which was enough to prove the strength of her spiritual power. Moreover, Li Fan felt that this was not her strongest power. No. Since Mr. Li is here to start a war, then you should follow the ape family's rules. Why are there so many rules? Abe Haruko seemed a little impatient. The rules still have to be followed. Abe Jichi reminded her, even if you're the family head, you can't change the family's 1,000-year-old rules. So annoying. Abe Haruko could only agree first. Rules? Why do I have to follow your rules? Li Fan stood there and asked with a smile. Mr. Li, please respect us. After all, we're also a big family. Moreover, this kind of challenge will have the media as a witness. Everything will be official. Media? Li Fan looked at Abe Jichi. You're quite powerful, I'm a little interested. Then please, Mr. Li, follow our rules, how about it? Okay, in any case, it's still a fight. Come on. Li Fan agreed. Thank you for your understanding. Abe Jichi breathed a sigh of relief. Things finally went according to the rhythm. Li Fan is an expert, but if he wants to challenge the huge ape family, that's really courting death. This time, let the media witness how China's martial artists are defeated in the hands of the Abe family. All of this is indispensable. Master, are we really going to follow their rules? Jiang Yi lowered his voice and asked Li Fan. And we're the challengers, so we must follow the challenged rules. Li Fan exercised his muscles and bones. Don't worry, your master, will definitely not go back resentfully this time. Ape family, watch me flatten them this time. Arrogant guy, this time he's dead for sure. After Abe Jichi walked away, she glanced at Li Fan and suddenly put away the smile on her face and sneered. This is so boring. Why don't you just let me fight him? Abe Haruko was especially unhappy. You don't believe that I can defeat him. You're the head of the family, how can you casually make a move? Abe Jichi hurriedly reminded her, moreover, rules are rules. Whether or not he can walk in front of you will depend on his own strength. 8 trigrams formation, 8 gates, by the time he reaches in front of me, he would already be exhausted. However, Abe Haruko frowned. This is really boring. This is his own choice, I didn't force him, my dear sister. Abe Jichi bowed to the head of the family. Head of the family, the dojo is in front, please take a seat. Humph. Abe Haruko swung her arm and turned around to leave. Abe Jichi looked at her sister's figure, her heart was hazy. Willful sister, but she has the strength of a 5 Magatama. If I also have the strength of a 5 Magatama, how good would it be? She is the one who is truly suitable to be the head of the family. If only sister doesn't exist, that would be great. Abe Jichi's eyes slightly narrowed. The Abe family's connections are very strong. An hour later, a lot of people from the media gathered in the dojo. Li Fan sat on one side of the dojo, Jiang Yi was massaging his shoulders. Abe Haruko sat on the other side of the dojo, surrounded by people from the Abe family, as well as media reporters, flashing lights non-stop. Chapter 9:27. The camera flashes did not stop. but most of them were on Abe Haruko. Abe Haruko was a big shot in Japan, and she rarely showed her face. A young, beautiful, and talented Grand Onmyoji, the head of the Abe family. This kind of person was definitely big news, especially a battle with a Chinese expert. This was definitely the headline. The media was extremely excited. They were waiting for this battle. A group of people were waiting for the battle to begin. As today's challenger, Li Fan's halo was not weak. Have you heard? This person is some kind of gold medal escort in China. I think his nickname is Little Tyrant. There is such a person, but does he have the qualifications to challenge the Grand Onmyoji Abe? Who knows? I think he won't even be able to pass the first 3 rounds. The challenge was divided into 8 rounds, using the 8 trigrams technique. Each round was guarded by a Onmyoji. If Li Fan wanted to challenge Abe Haruko, he would have to challenge the first 8 contestants. Mr. Li, we can begin. Abe Haruko knelt at the side. She seemed to be the host of this round and should be one of the rounds. She was so beautiful, so when she stood there, many people's gazes could not help but fall on her. Who is that? Abe Haruko, Abe Haruko's sister. She is so beautiful, and it's a pity that her strength is not as strong as her sister. Abe Haruko is the real Grand Onmyoji, the yin-yang star of our Japan. Abe Haruko seemed to have heard this and frowned slightly. Abe Haruko seemed to be used to hearing this. She sat there and felt a little restless. After all, she could not smoke her big tobacco pipe right now. It was too difficult to stop a person who was addicted to smoking. Then, who is the first round? Li Fan knelt there and was a little impatient. Respected Mr. Li, welcome to the Abe family. Although you are here to challenge, you are still a guest of our Abe family. Abe Haruko said, no matter how many rounds you challenge, I hope you can survive. Abe Haruko seemed to be giving her blessings, but there was a hidden killing intent, indicating the terror of the 8 trigram stage. I also hope that all of you can survive. Abe gestured to a companion, a young yin-yang warlock in his 20s with a magatama hanging around his neck. A magatama? Looks like there's nothing to be afraid of in this 8 trigrams formation. Li Fan smiled. Just as he was about to stand up, Abe Zigo spoke again. Both sides can only use spells and spirit-branded retainers in battle. What did you say? Li Fan immediately turned his head, frowned and looked at Abe Zizo. This is the rule. You said it before, according to the rule, my dear Mr. Li. Abe Zico smiled sweetly at Li Fan, causing Li Fan to almost vomit blood. Damn it, I've fallen into this girl's trap. Please begin, Mr. Li. The first yin-yang master stood there, stretched out his hand, and summoned a 1-meter-tall paper doll. This paper doll is the lowest level of yin-yang technique, but it's still very effective against Li Fan. Under the yin-yang master's control, the paper doll can follow Li Fan's moves, constantly attacking Li Fan. But Li Fan can only dodge left and right, unable to fight back. This made Li Fan a little crazy. What Chinese golden escort? It's only SOSO. His challenge is a joke, huh? Chinese jumping horse monkey. A group of people laughed. Jiang Yi has already clenched her fist, and Li Fan felt that she has begun to circulate her true qi. Li Fan immediately lifted his foot and stomped heavily on the ground. Boom! The entire dojo trembled, and everyone was shocked. What's going on? If you use true qi, it means that you admit defeat, Mr. Li, Abe Zico reminded Li Fan. Who said I'm going to use true qi? I want to use spirit-branded retainers, my dear. Li Fan laughed. Spirit-branded retainers? Abe Zico was stunned for a moment. Why does he have a spirit-branded retainer? Come out, Golden Lion War God. Li Fan felt for the good guy card in his pocket and pretended to imitate the Onmyoji and cast a spell. Abe Zico didn't feel any spiritual power, and she thought that Li Fan was just pretending. But at this moment, a golden light suddenly fell from the sky, directly smashing the roof of the dojo, and smashing into the center of the dojo. A beautiful woman wearing a golden flying lion armor stood there, holding a golden sword in one hand and a golden lion face shield in the other. Nanny? Abe Zico was shocked. Is this a spirit-branded retainer? This so-called golden lion war god released an extremely terrifying energy, which scared Abe Zinzi quite a bit. The yin-yang master of one Magatama was also frightened, and he tried to use the paper doll to attack the flying lion war god. But just as the paper doll approached the flying lion war god, the woman had already picked up the sword and directly swept it, cutting the paper doll in half. The yin-yang master of one Magatama spat out a mouthful of blood, obviously injured. 4 yin-yang masters, their spirit-branded retainers were connected to their spirit, and if the spirit-branded retainer was injured, their spirit would also be injured. This first round is considered passed. Looking at the one Magatama spirit-branded retainer being helped down, Li Fan crossed his arms and asked. The surrounding people were whispering. This Li Fan? Just who is he? That golden spirit-branded retainer. So powerful. This can be considered a god-tier spirit-branded retainer. Too terrifying, everyone was shocked by the flying lion war god summoned by Li Fan. Isn't this thing too strong? Abe Zico felt uneasy. She thought that her trap could trap Li Fan, or at least infuriate Li Fan. If she trapped Li Fan, he would have no choice but to face the rule of only using spirit-branded retainers, and then obediently be defeated. If she infuriated Li Fan and he broke the rule, all the yin-yang masters would be able to gang up on him. No matter which path it was, she could force Li Fan to his death. But Li Fan just had to come up with this, something that could be described as a spirit-branded retainer. Whether it was a spirit-branded retainer or not, it was hard to say. However, Li Fan was indeed summoned according to the method of spirit-branded retainers, and now they were the ones suffering in silence. Li Fan relied on his powerful golden lion war god to defeat 5 yin-yang masters in a row. In the blink of an eye, Li Fan arrived at the 6th round. At the 6th round, a handsome man came up, holding a talisman, pointed at Li Fan and said, "This spirit-branded retainer of yours is just for show. It can't defeat my ace spirit-branded retainer." This guy had 3 Magatama, and was the strongest yin-yang master Li Fan had met so far. Ace spirit-branded retainer? Take it out and let me see. Li Fan was really looking forward to it. Come out. The strongest spirit-branded retainer. The handsome yin-yang master was full of confidence as he summoned his own spirit-branded retainer. Wild Boar King. A fat pigman fell in front of Li Fan with a plop. Chapter 928. Holy shit, what is this? When Li Fan saw this pigman, he was stunned. This guy was 2 meters tall and had a big belly. He was huffing and puffing at him. Wild Boar King. Li Fan pointed at this thing's fat head and big ears and said, "It's clearly a domestic pig, right? This is not the point." The Onmyoji's face turned red. In short, it is very strong and can kill you in a second. As soon as he said that, the Wild Boar King suddenly jumped up and in the blink of an eye arrived in front of Li Fan. This thing's movement ability is very agile. The Wild Boar King punched down. Li Fan took a step back and the fist landed on the ground. Bang! A large hole appeared on the floor of the training hall. Wood shavings flew up and scattered everywhere. Its strength is really not small. Li Fan could not help but praise. Good fellow. Indeed, one cannot judge a book by its cover and a pig cannot eat meat. This pig is indeed very agile. As it shook its belly, it began to attack Li Fan. Its pair of pig hooves continuously hit Li Fan like a boxing champion. The flying lion goddess retreated to the front of Li Fan and raised her shield, blocking the Wild Boar King's pig hooves. Bang bang bang. The shield constantly burst out with white light. The flying lion goddess also kept retreating. It can be seen that the Wild Boar King is very strong. Ha! Now you see the power of this Wild Boar King. Let it beat you into meat paste. The Onmyoji laughed loudly. He formed a talisman and pointed at the Wild Boar King. Great Cross Fist Seal. The Wild Boar King's right hoof suddenly lit up with a white light. Like a seal, it smashed towards the flying lion goddess shield. The flying lion goddess raised her shield and smashed it. Then, a deep hoof mark appeared on the lion face shield. The flying lion goddess' arm also trembled. This beast's strength is indeed very strong. Li Fan could not help but clap his hands. That's why you can't pass the stage. The Onmyoji was very pleased with himself. Although his wild boar king did not look good, its battle prowess was top-notch. This Onmyoji had played some dirty tricks. In fact, he was already a Onmyoji with 4 Magatama, but in order to fool Li Fan he had purposely removed 1 Magatama. In the first few rounds he had deliberately used 1 or 2 Magatas to make Li Fan feel careless. When it came to the 3rd Magatama, he would miscalculate his combat strength and then suffer a great loss. Get out of here, Shina monkeys. The Yin-Yang master had already become arrogant. He activated his wild boar king and once again unleashed a great cross-fist seal, preparing to destroy all of Li Fan's defenses. Yeah, I'm not playing anymore. Li Fan reached out and patted the flying lion goddess. When the wild boar king was about to punch, the flying lion goddess suddenly raised her shield and slammed into its body. The wild boar king was at its weakest when it was about to unleash its fist seal. It was sent flying by the impact. It fell to the ground, creating another pit. Just as it was about to roll, the flying lion goddess had already used a jump slash and descended from the sky. The golden greatsword in her hand instantly pierced through its head. The wild boar king did not even have the time to scream before it exploded into a cloud of black smoke and slowly dissipated. Okay, can we go to the next round? Looking at the Onmyoji who was vomiting blood, Li Fan did not have the slightest bit of sympathy. He touched the flying lion goddess's shield, and the dent on the shield immediately recovered. The existence of the flying lion goddess was maintained by true qi. As long as she channeled true qi to the damaged part, it would be restored to its original state. Therefore, the flying lion goddess could still be summoned after being destroyed several times because of the replenishment of true qi. After passing 6 rounds in a row, the flying lion goddess was still standing there in high spirits, like a god. It seems that this 7th round should be left to me. Abe Zuzuko's expression was very ugly. She hated this kind of situation the most. Once things exceeded her expectations, it would be very difficult to control. No matter what, she must severely injure Li Fan. Even if she could not defeat him, she must pave the way for her sister. She wanted to let outsiders see that she, Abe Zuzuko, is also an outstanding Onmyoji. Morning. Li Fan greeted Abe Zuzuko. How do you plan to play this round? Mr. Li, your Shikigami is indeed very powerful. But I am a saint-tier Shikigami, you must be careful. As she spoke, she stood there, dressed in an elegant kimono. She stepped on her fair little feet and actually danced on it. Abe Zuzuko's appearance was delicate and pretty, her figure was slim, this dance was very eye-catching. At the same time, black feathers suddenly fell from the sky. Li Fan looked up and saw a black-feathered Daitengu wearing a red long nose mask, holding a 7-foot-long copper rod, flapping its wings and slowly descending from the sky. Look, it's Daitengu. This legendary Shikigami is actually in Abe Zuzuko's hands. Abe Zuzuko is also very powerful. A group of people are whispering. Li Fan is also somewhat surprised. Indeed, the world is big, there are all kinds of strange things. This kind of legendary Shikigami actually exists. Interesting, very interesting. Li Fan suddenly felt happy. It seemed that his trip to the island nation would not be lonely. Mr. Li, you must be careful. Abe Zuzuko said while dancing. She seems to be dancing some kind of ritual dance, but Li Fan does not understand it. Suddenly, Daitengu flapped its wings, waved its copper rod, and instantly smashed towards Li Fan's head. This is the strength of a true 4-Jade Onmyoji. At the same time, it is the so-called saint-tier Shikigami. Its power is indeed a bit shocking. Li Fan did not retreat, instead he let Flying Lion Goddess go up to meet it. Flying Lion Goddess raised her shield and blocked Daitengu's copper rod. Dang! Like an old monk striking a bell, Flying Lion Goddess directly kneeled on the dojo, her knees crushing the floor. The strength of Daitengu's copper rod is too strong, even Flying Lion Goddess is unable to completely block it. This Daitenga's fighting strength is simply heaven and earth compared to the wild boar king from before. This is more interesting. Flying Lion Goddess can only carry out some simple battle commands. Li Fan crossed his arms, staring at his Flying Lion Goddess. In the next second, the true chi in his body unknowingly entered Flying Lion Goddess's body, replacing her to control this body. Using true chi to control the body, this is not the first time Li Fan played this kind of method. But now that he is controlling Flying Lion Goddess's body, Li Fan feels a kind of limitless strong feeling. The main thing is that his control over this body is almost perfect. Although his body has been modified by true chi, it is after all not a perfect body. When using some martial arts, there will always be some strenuous feeling. However, the Flying Lion Goddess was different. Her body made Li Fan feel that it was truly perfect. Chapter 929. The human body is almost perfect. Humans have the golden ratio. This is the result of thousands of years of evolution. But because they do not train, many people's body coordination is not very good. Especially in recent years, humans have become more and more reliant on machines, causing their body's functions to slowly deteriorate. If a martial artist wants to unleash a powerful martial technique, not only must their inner force be strong, the coordination of their body must be able to keep up. Li Fan feels that on this Flying Lion Goddess's body, he can unleash martial techniques more smoothly. Whoo! Daitengu once again swings his bronze rod, preparing to kill the Flying Lion Goddess in one go. But the Flying Lion Goddess suddenly throws away the shield in her hand, only holding the golden holy sword. She directly sprints forward. The bronze rod is swung horizontally in front of her, but the Flying Lion Goddess did not stop. She only raised the holy sword and directly flicked it. Obviously, she did not use much strength, but the bronze rod was actually flicked away. Daitengu is now standing in front of the Flying Lion Goddess. The Flying Lion Goddess takes another step forward and thrusts the holy sword in her hand. Pooh! The holy sword directly pierced into Daitengu's chest, but the Daitengu is after all a sacred Shikigami. Its body is very strong. It forcefully withstood the sword. Instead, it raised its leg and kicked the Flying Lion Goddess, sending her flying. Holding the bronze rod, Daitengu leaps up again, his wings strengthen his movement ability. He instantly appeared in front of the Flying Lion Goddess, swinging the rod down. And the Flying Lion Goddess's holy sword is still stuck in Daitengu's chest. The Flying Lion Goddess did not dodge. She stood there and suddenly opened her mouth. Her true energy condensed into golden light. From her mouth, she directly shot it out. Bang! This verbal cannon hit Daitengu, sending him flying, ruthlessly smashing into the other side of the training hall and smashing into the room next door. The Flying Lion Goddess stands there and stretches out her right hand. The holy sword seems to be summoned. It is pulled out from Daitengu's chest and flew back to her hand. It is not over yet. Abe Zico is expressionless, as if she does not care about Daitengu's defeat. At this time, her body suddenly emits white radiance, following which, the room next door suddenly exploded. The Daitengu flapped its wings and flew back. Its body was covered in black energy. The Daitengu was strengthened under her power. As expected, there was something fishy about the dance. This is the dance of war, specifically designed to strengthen spirit-branded retainers. Abe said with a smile, "From the beginning, you should have stopped me from dancing." "What does it matter?" Li Fan was unmoved. "If I'm not a bit stronger, it'll be boring. Too arrogant." Abe Zigo couldn't help but feel a little angry. How could this Chinese martial artist be so arrogant? Daitengu, kill them. The Daitengu's body expanded to over 3 meters tall, and it gave off a black baleful aura as it pounced towards Li Fan and the others. With a flap of its wings, it seemed as if a storm was brewing in the training hall. The media reporters were blown all over the place, but Li Fan's feet seemed to be rooted to the ground as he stood there. The Flying Lion Goddess looked at the Daitengu flying towards her. Instead of retreating, she advanced. The two powerful summoned beasts collided in the air. The flying lion goddess who was holding onto her sword was actually sent flying back. From this, it can be seen how strong the Daitengu is. Li Fan estimated in his heart that this attack had the strength of 7 to 8 dragons. As expected, the spirit-branded retainers of Japan cannot be underestimated. Li Fan continued to inject true qi into the flying lion goddess body. Although the flying lion goddess is powerful, it is not enough to fight against such a powerful opponent. Fortunately, the Daitengu's movements are rhythmic. Although it has the strength of 7 to 8 dragons, it can't be compared to a true martial artist. The Daitengu carried its copper rod and once again attacked the flying lion goddess with unstoppable force. However, the flying lion goddess just stood there and held onto her holy sword. When the copper rod smashed down, the flying lion goddess's holy sword suddenly stabbed diagonally. Charming gentle sword art. With a clang, the copper rod in the Daitengu's hand was directly sent flying. Following which, the flying lion goddess turned around and slashed her sword, directly chopping off the Daitengu's head. The Daitengu's head flew into the sky and its body immediately started to vaporize. Abe Haruko also held onto her head and screamed in pain as she knelt on the floor of the dojo. My apologies, I challenged another round. Li Fan shrugged his shoulders. The 8 trigram round that you guys challenged is too simple. There is no meaning at all. The media is also alarmed. After so many years, there has never been an expert who could successfully challenge the 8th round. This news is even more explosive. However, Abe Haruko is a top genius, a grand onmyoji of the Abe family. She will definitely not lose. This challenger had made it all the way to the 8th stage. He was probably going to lose his life here. The media became excited as they took all kinds of pictures and flashes non-stop. It's finally your turn. Li Fan beckoned Abe Haruko, who is kneeling there. You have waited for a long time, right? Laonyang. I will defeat you, challenger. In front of so many media, Abe Haruko pretended to be serious. She slowly stood up and threw out a talisman with her left hand. A 6-pointed star formation appeared in front of her, and a ghost warrior in red armor slowly stood up from within. The ghost samurai pulled out a katana from his waist and aimed at the flying lion goddess in front of him. Your shikigami doesn't seem to be that strong? Li Fan felt that this is just an ordinary shikigami. The quality of a shikigami depends on the onmyoji who uses them. As Abe Haruko spoke, she took out another talisman and blew it at her shikigami. This talisman burned on the ghost samurai's body, causing the ghost samurai to be covered in a layer of golden red flames, as if he is wearing a flame cloak. Damn, did she buy a sunflame cloak? Li Fan blinked his eyes. The ghost samurai has already jumped and as if he teleported, he appeared in front of Li Fan. He ignored the flying lion goddess and directly attacked Li Fan. However, the flying lion goddess suddenly turned around and reached out her hand and landed on his armor. The ghost samurai's body stiffened, and the flying lion goddess's hand was also burned, causing her to take a step back. Li Fan is currently controlling the flying lion goddess and can no longer freely control his body. This is the same as when he uses the god of war, he can't use his body. However, this ghost samurai is extremely fast and slightly troublesome. After forcing the flying lion goddess back, the ghost samurai continued to attack Li Fan. The flying lion goddess once again raised her shield and blocked in front of Li Fan, using the shield to block the ghost samurai's attacks. Dang dang dang. Sparks flew all over the shield, leaving deep marks on it. Chapter 930. For an ordinary shikigami to be played by Abe Haruko like this, it is truly amazing. In the end, she is the most powerful onmyoji of the Abe family. Li Fan has tasted her power. However, Li Fan is a martial artist. No matter how powerful this ghost samurai is, it is impossible for him to keep suppressing him. When the ghost samurai is crazily swinging its blade, the flying lion goddess suddenly grabs a flaw in the opponent. She wrapped her leg with true energy and kicked the opponent's calf, causing the ghost samurai to fall forward. The flying lion goddess raises her shield vertically and hits the ghost samurai's face, causing it to fly backward. The flying lion goddess takes a step forward and catches up to the ghost samurai who is falling backward. She slashes towards its waist, wanting to cut it into two. But at this moment, something seems to have grabbed the ghost samurai and pulled it back, standing in front of Abe Haruko. As expected of a grand onmyoji, you are indeed powerful. Li Fan could not help but clap his hands. The flying lion goddess stands quietly at the side, holding her sword and shield. You are not bad either. Abe Haruko looks at Li Fan. I should also be more serious. With that, Abe Haruko stretches out her right hand and takes off a ring on her left hand. Abe Haruko's pupils constricts. This ring is a seal, specially used to seal a powerful shikigami. Now that her sister has taken off her ring, it means that this Chinese man in front of her has the ability to fight against her. How many years has it been since her sister has taken off her ring? Shikigami! Abe Haruko's left hand aims at Li Fan, Demon Blade Muramasa. A red blade suddenly flies out from her palm and instantly arrives in front of Li Fan. The flying lion goddess immediately raises her holy sword, aiming at the trajectory of the blade, and raises it. However, the demon blade Muramasa seems to have a life of its own. It suddenly draws an arc in the air and once again shoots towards Li Fan. The flying lion goddess's figure appears beside Li Fan in time and slaps towards the Muramasa with a crane hand. But the Muramasa dodged the flying lion goddess's hand again and stabbed toward the back of Li Fan's head. The flying lion goddess stood guard beside Li Fan. She used her crane hand again, but missed again. The demon blade Muramasa was nimble and more annoying than a mosquito or a fly. The most important thing was that the ghost warrior moved again. Covered in flames, it walked towards Li Fan. This Abe Haruko was actually able to control two shikigami at the same time. However, at this moment, the great god of war suddenly appeared behind Li Fan. It's just two spirit-branded retainers, I have them too. The great war god grabbed the flying demon blade Muramasa. At the same time, the flying lion war god brandished the holy sword and repelled the ghost warrior. The Muramasa was a demonic blade that had killed countless people. It suddenly erupted with an intense evil aura as it struck the great war god's palm and flew back. The great war god disappeared again. Li Fan stood there with his arms crossed. The great god of war also looked like a spirit-branded shikigami. To outsiders, there was nothing wrong with him. This Chinese also has two spirit-branded shikigami? So powerful. I didn't expect China to have such a talent. But even so, he's still not a match for the grand Yin-Yang master. Everyone discussed animatedly, and Abe Haruko looked at Li Fan again. Interesting. Abe Haruko seemed to be a little excited. She stood there and suddenly began to dance. Li Fan thought that she was going to dance a war ritual dance, but he didn't expect her to dance a pee. Li Fan was dumbfounded, but the surrounding media became excited. It's PPD. If we record this scene, I guarantee it will be popular. I've finally seen the original version. What did the original version mean? Could it be that Abe Haruko was the one who started the dance? Abe Haruko suddenly clenched her hands together. The demon blade Muramasa flipped in the air and landed in the hands of the ghost warrior. Swish. The ghost warrior suddenly slashed vertically. A black crescent saber light instantly slashed towards Li Fan across the air, with a strong hostility on it. Li Fan frowned. So this woman knew body fusion. He didn't retreat and continued to cover the flying lion goddess with his true energy. Holy shield defense. The flying lion goddess smashed her shield on the ground, and a golden holy shield appeared, blocking the ghost warrior's blade. However, the blade aura was wrapped in evil aura and was too sharp. It actually tore apart the holy shield and chopped off one of the flying lion goddess's arms. Then, it rushed towards Li Fan. The flying lion goddess grabbed Li Fan with her other hand and pulled him to the side. The crescent blade aura shattered the floor of the dojo and flew out. It broke through the wall behind it and directly shot into the air. Li Fan's hand touched the flying lion goddess's shoulder. Her arm was slowly growing back. You have to be careful. The demon blade's blade aura can eat people. Abe Haruko's cold voice rang in Li Fan's ears. It's quite powerful. Just as Li Fan nodded his head, the ghost warrior suddenly appeared in front of him and slashed down at Li Fan's head. However, the flying lion goddess's hands were wrapped in true energy. She directly extended her hands and hugged the ghost warrior's waist. Then her entire body fell backwards. Boom! The ghost warrior's body heavily smashed onto the ground of the dojo. Its body was smashed into pieces. These pieces of armor flew up and reformed into the ghost warrior in the air, holding the red demon blade Muramasa. Your Shikigami is very agile. Abe Haruko said, it's just that its strength is too weak. Don't speak too early. Li Fan spat out a mouthful of turbid air. Just now was just a warm-up. With that, he placed his palm on the flying lion goddess's body. Reverse Dragon Toad's absorption of water. Li Fan poured the true energy in his body into the flying lion goddess's body. The flying lion goddess suddenly raised her head and let out a silent roar towards the sky. True energy exploded in all directions. Her golden armor emitted a dazzling golden light. A ripple spread out, and the ghost warrior's armor was once again smashed into pieces, scattering on the ground. It's useless, the ghost warrior can reassemble infinitely. Before Abe Haruko could finish her words, she frowned. A pair of golden wings suddenly popped out from the flying lion goddess's back and flapped. Her battle prowess seemed to have increased by several times, bringing with it a powerful pressure. How did she do it? Abe Haruko did not understand. If they yin-yang masters wanted to strengthen their Shikigami, they had to perform a long and stinky war dance. But how did that Chinese person do it? With just a pat of his hand, he strengthened the Shikigami to such an extent? However, taking advantage of the time when the two of them were standing in a straight line, the ghost warrior wielded the demon blade and threw out a crescent blade aura towards them. This time, the flying lion goddess did not use her shield. Instead, she swept out the holy sword in her hand that was emitting a golden light. Chapter 931. The flying lion goddess had evolved two golden wings, not to fly, but to represent that her strength had reached a certain level. Li Fan felt that it was different from those who cultivated innate qi. Those who cultivated innate qi had a dantian in their body, which could store innate qi. But if it was someone else, if they wanted to store such a huge amount of energy, their body would not be able to hold it. Then where would the extra energy be stored? It would be in the wings. According to Western legends, the more powerful the angel, the more wings they had. Li Fan pondered, was it also because of this reason? Under the impact of his power, the flying lion goddess's strength suddenly rose to the strength of a generation's grandmaster. She originally had the strength of about 3 to 4 dragons, and with his infusion, she suddenly had the strength of 10 dragons. The strength of 10 dragons. This was the level of a generation's grandmaster. But because her realm could not keep up, she could not be called a generation's grandmaster. Such a huge amount of power allowed the flying lion goddess to evolve a pair of wings to store power. Although such wings looked very cool, Li Fan did not like it. If she had wings, it would be too inconvenient to fight. For martial artists like them, wings and whatnot were just burdens. But the flying lion goddess had the golden wings, and her combat power had indeed soared. With a horizontal slash, she actually forcefully tore the ghost warrior's black crescent into pieces. After that, she raised the golden holy sword in her right hand, and the sword lit up with a golden light. A huge golden sword suddenly descended from the sky and slashed the ghost warrior's body, tearing the ghost warrior into pieces. The huge combat power displayed by the flying lion goddess shocked everyone. Heavens! Is this really a god-tier Shikigami? Too strong. Can our leader still defeat Hua Xia's Li Fan? I don't know. It seems unlikely. The surrounding yin-yang masters all started to discuss in low voices, discussing what was going on. Abe Zeroshi was a little angry and scolded. All of you, shut up, what nonsense are you talking about? Seeing that Abe Zeroshi was angry, these yin-yang masters stopped their discussion. Abe Zeroshi's position in the yin-yang family was not low, and everyone was also very afraid of her. An Li Fan's flying lion goddess was indeed standing there, her body flickering with golden light, showing a different style. The surrounding media kept snapping photos. This kind of news would definitely be very explosive if it was released. But one reporter was very calm. He turned off his camera. "Why aren't you filming? Don't you want big news?" The colleague beside him asked. "Are you guys stupid? If Li Fan wins, this news will never be published." The reporter's words woke up the people around them. The surrounding reporters looked at each other and put down their cameras. At this time, Abe Haruko was still calm. "I didn't expect you to have a god-ranked spirit-branded retainer." Abe Haruko looked at the winged lion goddess who was flapping her wings and said slowly, "Since that's the case, I don't need to hide my strength anymore." As Abe Haruko spoke, she exposed her right shoulder, causing the surrounding reporters to drool. The head of the ape family was a beauty. Although she was in her 30s, she took good care of herself. She was bare-shouldered and half of her breasts were exposed. That kind of energy was too lethal to men. Even Li Fan couldn't help but take a few more glances. Yin Yang through the heavens. Abe Haruko stretched out her right hand, and the ghost samurai immediately flew over. The armor began to shrink and condense. Very quickly, it condensed into a vambrace and draped over her right arm. At the same time, the scarlet Muramesa also fell into her palm and was held by her. Oh! Li Fan was a little surprised. Although the spirit-branded retainer was powerful, its mobility could be controlled. This was its biggest weakness. But if the spirit-branded retainer and a human were to combine, there would be no such weakness. Furthermore, after being possessed by the spirit-branded retainer, this woman's body seemed to have been strengthened. Right now, she should have the combat power of a spirit-branded retainer. "Your death is here." Abe Haruko's voice was ice-cold. Her entire body seemed to have entered a strange state. "Go!" Li Fan pointed his finger. The winged lion goddess immediately flapped her wings and instantly appeared in front of Abe Haruko. The winged lion goddess slashed at Abe Haruko with her holy sword, but Abe Haruko's left hand flicked the winged lion goddess' forehead. Bam! The winged lion goddess body was bounced back a step, and Abe Haruko's tachi followed the winged lion goddess and stabbed at her throat. The winged lion goddess raised her holy sword and used charming gentle sword to deflect the opponent's tachi. Then, she kicked at the opponent's lower abdomen. Abe Haruko's palm pushed the winged lion goddess calf away, then she turned around and slashed at the winged lion goddess. The winged lion goddess raised her shield and pushed it up, deflecting the tachi. Then she used her shoulder to block. Abe Haruko's body leaned to the side and her knee landed heavily on the winged lion goddess' ribs. Then, she raised her tachi and slashed downwards. The winged lion goddess raised her holy sword again. The charming gentle sword appeared and deflected Abe Haruko's tachi. The winged lion goddess possessed Li Fan's techniques. Coupled with her own combat power, she was almost equivalent to a grandmaster. Before Abe Haruko could react, the winged lion goddess threw her shield and slapped Abe Haruko's chest. Abe Haruko's chest was quite soft. Even though she was using the winged lion goddess body, she could still feel it. Abe Haruko's body slid 3 meters away and stabbed the tachi into the ground. Only then did she stabilize her body. The winged lion goddess appeared in front of her again. Just as Abe Haruko was about to counterattack, the winged lion goddess flapped her wings. A gust of wind blew out, and Abe Haruko subconsciously covered her eyes. At this moment, the winged lion goddess made her move again. Qilin palm. The winged lion goddess palm pressed over. In a hurry, Abe Haruko raised her tachi to block it. Clang! The demon blade broke into 2. Abe Haruko was once again sent flying and smashed into a wall. "Everyone, you are still lacking a bit." Li Fan smiled. "Looks like I have passed the 8 trials?" "You are thinking too much. I have not lost yet." Abe Haruko blasted away the rubble on her body and stood up. She held the demon blade and half-squatted on the ground, as though she was about to draw the blade. Li Fan felt a sense of pressure, and Abe Haruko suddenly used the blade-drawing technique. Li Fan subconsciously controlled the winged lion goddess to lower her sacred shield and block in front of her. Poof! The sacred shield broke into two, and the winged lion goddess' right leg was cut off. She half knelt on the ground and used the sacred sword to support her body. This invisible blade drawing technique. Li Fan broke out in cold sweat. This is a little crazy. What should I do now? Chapter 932. Li Fan frowned. This was going to be troublesome. This woman was actually using the blade drawing technique. This technique was extremely powerful. One couldn't even see the trajectory of the sword aura. As long as the opponent drew the blade, one side would be injured, especially when the opponent was using the Muramasa demon blade. The sharpness was so strong that even the holy shield couldn't block it. After cutting off the flying lion goddess leg, Abe Haruko squatted down again and held the demon blade again. Her blade drawing technique was too powerful. It was indeed difficult to block it. But Li Fan had already thought of a countermeasure. Abe Haruko suddenly drew her blade. The moment she moved her shoulder, Li Fan made the flying lion goddess fly into the air. Bang! A blade mark was left on the wall behind. Sunlight shone through the gap. The flying lion goddess leg was slowly recovering. Abe Haruko had already given up on attacking the flying lion goddess. Instead, she turned her attention to Li Fan. Abe Haruko had already displayed the strength of a grandmaster. If she managed to cut him, Li Fan wouldn't have it easy. But Li Fan still stood there. He decided to take the initiative to attack. The best defense was offense. The flying lion goddess was in midair. She aimed at Abe Haruko and spat out a golden mouth cannon. The light instantly hit Abe Haruko's body, but Abe Haruko raised her katana and blocked it. The flying lion goddess raised her holy sword again. A huge golden sword descended from the sky and slashed at Abe Haruko's head. Abe Haruko drew her blade and cut the falling holy sword into two. Abe Haruko's blade seemed to be able to cut through anything. It was going to be difficult to defeat Abe Haruko. But the flying lion goddess had been fighting with Abe Haruko with her holy sword. Abe Haruko couldn't find the time to attack Li Fan. Even Li Fan was a little afraid of Abe Haruko's blade drawing technique. Blade cutting water. Abe Haruko suddenly drew her blade. The flying lion goddess body froze for a moment. It was as if time had been sucked out. This was also one of the demon blade's abilities. Taking advantage of the moment when the flying lion goddess froze, Abe Haruko grabbed the demon blade and aimed it at Li Fan again. Fuck! Li Fan felt a chill run down his spine. Damn it, am I going to die this time? But at this moment, Abe Haruko suddenly coughed up a mouthful of blood. She loosened her grip on the saber and half knelt on the ground. Her fluttering hair drooped down. Oh no, the elder's illness is acting up. Abejichi was shocked. She immediately shouted to the people around her, "Everyone, the heaven illuminating array." As soon as Abe's voice fell, all the onmyoges in the surroundings moved and surrounded Li Fan. Each of them held a charm in their hands. All media, I'm sorry, but this is the time to reject interviews. Abe said as she pinched a charm in her hand and then slapped it on the ground. A strong impact was felt, and all the media reporters were sent flying out of the training hall uncontrollably. After they left, the door of the training hall was tightly shut with a bang, blocking the reporters outside. Baka, let us in. Bastard! Why won't you let us watch? The reporters were all angry, but the door seemed to be sealed. No matter how they tried, they couldn't open it. Abejichi had indeed cast a barrier on this training hall. Outsiders couldn't enter, and only the onmyoges could move freely. What, after completing the 8th stage, you want to fight as a group? Li Fan put his hands in his pockets, and the flying lion goddess stood beside him. Our elder's condition isn't good, so it doesn't count as your victory. So, we will replace her as the 8th stage. Abejichi looked at Li Fan and winked at him. Mr. Li is such a magnanimous person, you should understand us, right? I will forgive you after I beat you guys up. Li Fan said as he placed his hand on the flying lion goddess. Dragon Toad's absorption. The energy that was released to the flying lion goddess was absorbed back into his body. The flying lion goddess slowly disappeared, and Li Fan stretched his back. This feels much better. I can finally beat you bunch of idiots with my own hands. Don't look down on us on Myojis, Abejichi said as she stretched out a finger and pointed at Li Fan. A single spark makes a prairie fire. Dozens of Onmyojis immediately took out their talismans and released the fireball technique at Li Fan. For a moment, hundreds of fireballs pierced through the air, drew an arc, and shot towards Li Fan. This scene was very spectacular, like a night of fireworks. But Li Fan just stood there with his hands in his pockets. He didn't seem to make any movements, but the fireball that fell in front of him suddenly changed direction, bounced to the side, and exploded on the surrounding buildings. Only Abejichi faintly saw that it wasn't that Li Fan didn't make any movements, but that he quickly used the crane hand. But his speed was too fast, and ordinary people couldn't even see his movements, as if he didn't do anything. This Li Fan is so scary. Release the spider. Under Abejichi's command, all the 2 Magatama Onmyojis released their spider Shikigami. Their spider Shikigami Li Fan had seen before, and each of them was as big as a wash basin. Now, about 20 of them were released, and they crawled towards Li Fan in a densely packed manner, which was a little scary. Li Fan smiled. He took a step forward, but this step directly crossed a distance of more than 10 meters, and he instantly stood behind the group of spiders. And all the spiders flew up, and at the same time, they were electrocuted into charcoal and slowly vaporized in the air. In the blink of an eye, Li Fan consecutively kicked more than 20 times, and these spiders were all sent flying. Li Fan's current state was abnormally good. He had already released the power of the Dragon Divine General, and he didn't intend to show any mercy. Today, the Abe family will disappear. Li Fan threw out such a sentence. How arrogant! Abejichi scolded, and in the next second, Li Fan stepped on the cloud ladder and suddenly jumped into the air, hanging upside down 100 meters above their heads. His left palm was folded at his waist, and a powerful true chi was quickly condensing. Oh no! Abejichi seemed to have sensed something, and she hurriedly ordered the surrounding Onmyojis to release a powerful barrier together. Dragon King Seal. Li Fan's palm slammed down, and the ground trembled heavily. The terrifying palm pressure was blocked by the barrier maintained by the hundreds of Onmyojis. But some Onmyojis obviously couldn't bear it anymore, and they vomited blood and knelt on the ground. Abejichi helped them up and said in their ears, "Everyone, don't be afraid, bring out our courage and strength. This Huaxiao person is the devil that we have been training ourselves to face. We can't let him destroy our great city, our country." Chapter 933. Abe Haruko was born into a yin-yang master family. Ever since she was born, she had always been shrouded in her sister's halo. No, she did not live under her sister's halo at all, but in the shadows outside of it. Her sister had received the family's expectations and praise since she was young, but she did not care about it. Instead, she ruined the family's good intentions. Her sister had told her that she did not want to be a yin-yang master at all. She wanted to learn music and play the cello in Vienna. Her sister was really wasting natural resources. If only she had her sister's talent. But why did the demon blade Muramasa choose her sister as its host? If only she had been chosen. Even if her life force was continuously sucked away by the demon blade, it would be fine. If her sister did not exist, she would be the head of the family. Abe Haruko looked at her half-kneeling sister, and a trace of viciousness flashed in her eyes. She should be the grand yin-yang master of the yin-yang school. She kept helping up her fallen companions, giving them comfort and support. However, more and more people fell. They could not withstand the impact of that Chinese man. At this moment, Abe Haruko suddenly stood up. She did not say anything, but with blood at the corner of her mouth, she stretched out her left hand and released a powerful barrier towards the sky. With the addition of Abe Haruko's powerful spiritual power, the barrier immediately became much stronger. The family leader has stood up. She is fighting with us. We cannot lose. For the Yin-Yang Master family. The Yin-Yang Masters who were still dispirited just now seemed to be encouraged, and their spirits were all lifted. These Yin-Yang Masters all used their strength to add bricks and tiles to the barrier. Abe Haruko was extremely jealous. She had put in so much effort, but her sister only stood up and released a spell, and the surrounding Yin-Yang Masters seemed to have eaten a great tonic. She was not convinced. Li Fan had finished releasing the Dragon King seal, and he returned to the ground. Looking at the barrier that was still struggling, Li Fan could not help but admire it. These Yin-Yang Masters were very tenacious. He's coming down, use the soul-binding spell. Abe Haruko decisively gave the command. Instantly, all the Onmyoges pointed their fingers at Li Fan. A chain of light slowly appeared on Li Fan's body, directly locking his arms and legs, pinning him to the ground. Huaxia man, no matter how powerful you are, you shouldn't have come alone to fight against our Onmyoji clan. Abe Zigo sneers. The great Onmyoji family protects the entire Tokyo, even the entire Japan. Not to mention you, even if Yamada no Orochi is resurrected, we can also suppress it. Elder sister, go and kill this person. He's alone. It's not fair. However, Abe Haruko said, I do want his life, but only in a one-on-one fight. Pedantic. Abe Zigo was so angry. She took a bow and arrow from the shelf next to her and poured her Reiki into it. The bow and arrow burned with blue flame. Abe Tomoko pulled her bow and aimed at Li Fan. Die! A blue arrow pierced through the air and instantly appeared in front of Li Fan. Ha! Li Fan let out a loud shout, a beautiful Buddhist lion's roar. His true chi rushed out and shattered the arrow. A lot of Onmyoges in front of him were also affected and directly flew out. The spirit-binding curse on his body also weakened a bit. Li Fan was about to break free from the chain. However, more Onmyoges arrived and joined the camp that imprisoned Li Fan. The entire Abe family, 300 Onmyoges, were all here. They kept chanting and finally, the spirit-binding curse became even stronger. Those blue chains seemed to have become real. Li Fan frowned and tried to move his arm, but found that these chains were extremely strong and he couldn't break free at all. I really didn't expect that you can still resist in this situation. Abe Zigo sneered, but it ends here. It's you who ends here. A figure unknowingly stood behind Abe Zigo, and at the same time, a hand knife pierced into Abe Zigo's throat. A paper doll shattered, and Abe Zigo knelt on the side, cold sweat dripping from her forehead. If not for the paper doll protecting her once, she would have died. Jiang Yi took the opportunity to stand behind Abe Haruko, and 4 fingers were on her throat. If you don't let go of my master, she will die. When the two sides started fighting, Jiang Yi secretly hid. She had been waiting for this moment. Damn it. Abe Zigo cursed. All the Onmyoges saw that everyone had become hostages, and the spiritual power in their hands weakened a bit. Continue to cast the spirit-binding curse. Abe Zigo roared, but Jiang Yi reminded her, her paper doll is here. Jiang Ye's other hand unknowingly took away Abe Haruko's protective paper doll. My hand will tear her throat, she will die without a doubt. The situation seemed to have become a bit bad. Jiang Yi almost didn't spend much effort to reverse the situation. Abe Zigo clenched her fist tightly. Even if she wanted Abe Haruko to die, the other Onmyoges in the family would not agree. But at this time, Li Fan spoke. Jiang Yi, come back. Master? Jiang Yi was a little surprised. Through the crowd, she looked at her master who was tied up there. Come back, Li Fan said again. Although his voice was very soft, it seemed to resound in Jiang Ye's ears, like thunder. I said, this time I want to win fair and square. Sometimes, master is really stubborn. But I am addicted to master's charm. Yes, master. Jiang Yi let go of Abe Haruko. She directly used her qinggong and used a swallow 3 times to avoid the fireballs of the Onmyoges. She landed behind Li Fan and half knelt in front of Li Fan. Onmyoges, your name. My name is Li Fan, China's top escort, known as the Little Overlord. Today, I am here to destroy you. With that, all the pores on Li Fan's body instantly closed. His skin turned slightly red. White steam came out of his body and rolled into the air. Li Fan's body suddenly burst out with a dazzling golden light. This golden light quickly condensed into the shape of a ring, hanging behind Li Fan. This ring was completely condensed from energy. At this time, the energy in Li Fan's body was too enormous, and even he couldn't bear it. Thus, he sent a portion of the excess energy out through an open pore, condensing it into this ring. It was better to have a ring than two wings. The current Li Fan was like a god that descended from the heavens. And a powerful wave of air spread out in an instant. Even Jiang Yi was sent flying. Many onmyoges were also shaken by the impact. Abe Zigo's forehead was covered in cold sweat. Chapter 934. What a huge power! Abe Haruko was shocked, but she was full of confidence in the soul-binding curse cast by her family. How could there be a problem with the soul-binding curse cast by 300 onmyoges? Stop struggling. You can't win. Abe Haruko shouted at Li Fan. But immediately she couldn't speak. 3 moves. Li Fan stretched out 3 fingers. Under the dumbfounded gazes of the onmyoges, Li Fan broke the chains bit by bit, then stretched out his right palm, facing the onmyoges in front of him. Ursa Major Seal. A huge palm pressure instantly slapped over. The 300 onmyoges were all sent flying by Li Fan's palm pressure. Many onmyoges were in front, and their bodies were directly torn into pieces by the palm pressure. How is this palm pressure? It's clearly a powerful meat grinder. Looking at the ground full of minced meat, Abe Haruko knelt on the ground. Her internal organs were also injured, and there was blood at the corner of her mouth. She looked at Li Fan in disbelief. Is he possessed by Yamada no Orochi? Why is he so strong? Abe Haruko immediately squatted down, hung the tachi on her waist, and prepared to use the sword drawing technique. But Li Fan pulled at Abe Haruko. Dragon Toad Absorption. The strong pulling force pulled Abe Haruko, causing her to stagger forward, and directly broke her sword drawing technique. Li Fan took a step forward and punched through the air. The second move. Hitting the tiger through the air. Abe Haruko's body was directly hit out, smashing the wall behind her, tearing the barrier, and falling into the courtyard. One more move. Li Fan opened his hands, and powerful true chi gathered on his hands. 7 Brilliance Absolute Kill, 10 Great Wisdom King. Li Fan was ready to bury all the onmyoges, and let them, along with this courtyard, completely disappear in history. This is Li Fan's revenge. First the Abe family, then the Takeda family, and then the Kaga family. This time, Li Fan's purpose was to destroy the 3 great families of the island. Brat, how dare you! However, just as Li Fan was gathering his power, a figure wearing a kimono suddenly appeared in front of him. His body was covered in blue spiritual light, and he held a golden sword in his hand. He slashed at Li Fan's head. Li Fan immediately pushed out the power in his palms and collided with the sword. Boom! A formless shockwave blasted out, turning into a ring that shattered all the surrounding objects. As for Li Fan, he was sent sliding 3 meters away. The ring on his back slowly disappeared, and he spat out a mouthful of blood. The time to close his pores was up, and he had been beaten back to his original form. Opposite him stood an old man with white hair and a ruddy complexion, glaring angrily at Li Fan. Baka! The old man first cursed in Japanese, then switched to Chinese, and reprimanded Li Fan. Chinaman, you dare to come to my Yamato nation's territory and cause trouble. I have been in seclusion for 30 years, and today, I will use the Kusanagi sword to kill you. Great-grandfather, you have come out of seclusion. When Abe saw the old man, she was pleasantly surprised. Her great-grandfather's name was Abe Yoshio, and he was a true grand onmyoji. It was said that during World War II, he had personally set foot on China's soil. However, at that time, he had fought with a group of experts from China, and in the end he was defeated and returned to Tokyo. Now that her great-grandfather had been in seclusion for so many years, His yin-yang technique had long reached a terrifying state. In addition to the god-ranked Shikigami and the powerful Kusanagi sword, this Chinaman would definitely be defeated by his hands. No, he would die here. Li Fan looked at the old man in front of him, and a red light flashed in his eyes. His heart started to beat faster, as if something was about to rush out. The other party was a true Grandmaster-level expert. Whether it was strength or realm, they were all above this level. Master. Jiang Yi supported Li Fan, but was gently pushed away by Li Fan. You old man, I see that you are not young anymore. You have lived all these years in vain, right? Li Fan scolded without any trace of politeness. A mere Chinaman martial artist dares to insult me? I think you don't even want your soul anymore. Abe Yoshio snorted coldly. His eyes were filled with coldness as he looked at Li Fan. Prepare to have your soul scattered. Did I say anything wrong? You have trained for so many years, but today, you brought your entire family to bully a 20-year-old kid like me. Li Fan laughed out loud. This is too funny. Your Abe family is simply too powerful. If this were to spread out, it would definitely be especially glorious. Do you think that by saying such words, I will let you go? Abe Yoshio laughed coldly. Stop dreaming. Today you must die here. You old man, you seem to be quite strong. Do you dare to make a bet with me? Li Fan must think of a way to leave this place first. What bet? Li Fan is Abe Yoshio's prey. He will not be able to escape from the palm of his hand. Abe Yoshio is not in a hurry to kill him. He might as well toy with his prey first. You and I bet on a 10-day agreement. Li Fan said, I have fought so many battles in a row and am somewhat tired. If I rest for 10 days, I will be able to defeat you. 10 days? Defeat me? Little doll, are you dreaming? Abe Yoshio sneered. You don't dare? Or are you afraid that I will run away? The Abe family can block the traffic in Jingdong at will. You won't be able to escape even if you have wings. Abe Yoshio immediately shouted, but was glared at by Abe Yoshio. She trembled in fear and kneeled to the side, not daring to make a sound. Although I don't know what you are planning in your stomach, but in 10 days, you will not be able to defeat me. Abe Yoshio said, not to mention 10 days, even if it is 100 days or 1,000 days, in my eyes, you are still just an ant. Don't say those useless things. Do you dare to make the bet? Fine, I will give you 10 days. Abe Yoshio was too confident in his own strength. The reason he came out of seclusion this time was not only because he sensed the crisis of the Abe family, but also because he planned to set foot on the mainland of China again. He wanted to use his absolute strength to defeat those stupid Shino warriors. That piece of fertile land belonged to His Majesty the Great Emperor. 10 days later, let's meet here. Abe Yoshio pointed at the messy dojo under his feet. If you don't dare to come, I will personally kill you. Brat, enjoy these 10 days. With that, Abe Yoshio waved his hand, and a strange force hit Li Fan's body, knocking him and Jiang Yi out of the courtyard. Great-grandfather. Abe Haruko wiped the blood from the corner of her mouth. 10 days later, let me go. You better recuperate. Abe Yoshio glanced at the new patriarch. Not bad, the Muramasa is willing to choose you, which proves that you are indeed outstanding. But you are too weak to be suppressed by the Muramasa. Bring out the domineering ape family and subdue this demon blade. Hi. Chapter 935. Master, are you planning to invite Imperial Consort Zhou over? After returning to the hotel, Jiang Yi saw that Li Fan had finally come out of the room and hurriedly went forward to ask. Li Fan had just gone to treat his injuries. With the help of the rejuvenation pill, his injuries were already more or less healed. To deal with an old monster like Abe Yangfu, only a more powerful monster could do it, right? Xia Ho and Chen Junhua also hurriedly surrounded him. Xia Ho checked Li Fan's body in various ways, afraid that he had any residual injuries. Imperial Consort Zhou? Li Fan shook his head. She's still in seclusion and can't be contacted. Furthermore, I don't intend to invite her over. I'm my own opponent, why would I need her help? But, That Abe Yangfu is too terrifying. His strength is not on the same level as us. He's a Grandmaster level expert. Li Fan said, there's still a world of difference between a true Grandmaster and the power I created by closing my pores. A Grandmaster is actually so strong. Master, do you have any other methods? Can we defeat him in 10 days? No. Li Fan shrugged his shoulders. Everyone in the room was dumbfounded. It's just a delaying tactic. 10 days is better than nothing. Who knows, in these 10 days, we might be able to create a miracle. Li Fan smiled. This optimistic attitude made Xia Ho collapse first. If we lose, we'll lose our lives. Xia Ho reminded Li Fan, Junior brother, why don't we return to China? If we break out of the encirclement together, we can definitely escape back to China. When we reach China, with Imperial Consort Zhou around, that Abe Yangfu won't dare to act rashly. Furthermore, there are many experts in China, so they won't let a Japanese be so presumptuous. Junior sister, since when do I need other people's protection? Li Fan rejected Xia Ho's suggestion. Moreover, I brought Imperial Consort Zhou to the escort agency to watch over her and let her know her place, not to let her protect me. If I don't even have the ability to protect myself, how can I still be a martial artist? He instructed Qin Junhua. Junhua, protect this place for the next few days. I'm going to cultivate in seclusion and see if there's any breakthrough. All right. Qin Junhua couldn't provide any other help at this time. He could only follow Li Fan's instructions and protect the women here. Jiang Yi, train well these few days. Don't let your skills fall behind. You are not allowed to get close to the Abe family. Junhua, you have to watch over her. Little junior brother, what should I do then? Xian hurriedly asked. Oh, I'm not used to the food here. Little senior sister, please cook for us. Xia Ho was speechless. Li Fan waved his hand. Then I'll go into seclusion first. If there's nothing urgent, don't enter my seclusion room. After Li Fan finished speaking, he returned to his room and sat cross-legged on the bed. Although he appeared very optimistic in front of everyone, he was actually not very confident. Delaying for 10 days was just a delaying tactic. If a martial artist wanted to become strong, how could it be done in 10 days? For him, Li Fan to improve to this level in 2 years, it was already because of all kinds of luck and cheats. Just as Li Fan was in seclusion, Mr. Yang suddenly stood beside his bed, holding onto his cane. He pointed to the bright night scene outside. Little friend, have you forgotten? This is Tokyo, the place of the Japanese. Mr. Yang reminded Li Fan, as long as you activate your ability and absorb the life force of the people in this city, you will have enough strength to kill that old Japanese. No, even if it's the Japanese, not everyone is bad. Li Fan flatly rejected Mr. Yang's words. I can't do such a heartless thing. I didn't ask you to kill them either. Mr. Yang rolled his eyes and began to induce Li Fan again. As long as you absorb a bit of life force from each of them, they might only lose a year or 2 of their lifespan. But with so many people, it's enough for you to increase your strength by a lot. Hearing this, Li Fan slightly hesitated. It's only a year or 2, it won't have much of an impact on them. In any case, they are all people from other countries. Don't forget, these people have invaded our country before. Mr. Yang's voice seemed to ring in Li Fan's heart. Don't hesitate, otherwise, do you still have a way to defeat that old Japanese? Mr. Yang asked. If you die, then so be it. But think about it, you still have Jiang Yi, Xia Ho, and Qin Junhua by your side. Do you think that after you die, they will still be able to survive? That old Japanese, he will definitely kill them all one by one. Li Fan, you confidently brought them to the Japanese, but you can't protect them. What kind of martial artist are you? You're not even a fart. Enough. Li Fan berated, and Mr. Yang's body slowly disappeared. He walked to the window and pushed it open. The bustling sound of the traffic outside immediately poured into Li Fan's ears. Just absorbing a bit of life force is indeed not a problem. Li Fan jumped out of the window, and then using Qinggong, he leaped up and landed on the rooftop. This king's building is the tallest building in Jingdong. Standing here, one can overlook the entire Jingdong city. Night had long fallen, and a bright moon hung high in the sky. The darkness seemed to not dare to approach the city, but Li Fan felt that he was an even more terrifying darkness. In order to protect the people around him, even if he turned into a demon, Li Fan would still do it. Furthermore, just this once, just for this day, it's fine. He sat cross-legged on the rooftop, opened his mouth, and took a deep breath. Li Fan's strength has already entered a new level. He doesn't even need to switch to Star Luo Divine Art. Just by using the 7 Heroes Force's Dragon Toad's absorption of water, he can achieve the same effect. He took a deep breath, and the entire city seemed to be pulled by him. Waves of green energy slowly floated up from below, and from all directions, it gathered towards Li Fan and was sucked into his mouth. Li Fan's body burned with a green radiance. After all, this is an imitation of the Star Luo Divine Art. It can be said to be a devil art. Li Fan inhaled this life force, which is also energy, and immediately transformed it into a huge amount of true qi in his body. This true qi wandered through every inch of Li Fan's meridians, strengthening his strength little by little. Li Fan felt that he is becoming stronger, and the true qi in his dantian began to expand. Li Fan's pair of eyes also slightly turned green. Under the night sky, it looked somewhat strange. While absorbing the energy, Li Fan also felt an uncontrollable pleasure, filling his body, penetrating into his bone marrow, and deep into his soul. Too comfortable, really too comfortable, Li Fan felt as if he was excited. He couldn't help but open his arms and absorb the energy in front of him. Chapter 936. A day had passed. Xia Ho sent the food to Li Fan's room and found Li Fan sitting cross-legged on the bed with 5 clouds of white smoke coming out of his body. Little junior brother must be very serious in his cultivation. I can't make a sound lest I disturb him. Just as she thought so, Li Fan suddenly coughed twice. Little junior brother, what's wrong? Are you not feeling well? Xia Ho asked hurriedly. I'm fine. Li Fan hurriedly waved his hand. I inhaled too much exhaust gas. Oh. No, nothing. Li Fan felt guilty. Fuck, I almost told the truth. Little senior sister is a very amiable person. It's easy to accidentally say what's on your mind when talking to her. Are you really okay? Do you want me to find some cold medicine for you? It's okay, little senior sister. I'm going to continue my seclusion. Li Fan looked at his nose and heart as if he was going to continue his cultivation. Xia Ho didn't want to disturb him. She just looked at Li Fan worriedly before turning around and carefully closing the door for Li Fan. Jiang Yi sat outside Li Fan's door, meditating like a door god. Did your master make any movements last night? Xia Ho asked. Jiang Yi shook his head. Everything was normal. So strange. What's wrong? Chen Junhua was practicing swordsmanship in the living room. Seeing Xia Ho's worried expression, he subconsciously asked. Nothing. I just feel that little junior brother is weird. Xia Ho shook his head, hoping that it was just his imagination. Master will definitely be fine. There's nothing he can't do. Jiang Yi added. That's true, but in just 10 days. What can little junior brother do? A grandmaster of a generation. This realm was a peak that many martial fighters could not reach in their entire lives. Can little junior brother do it in 10 days? That's impossible. But when I went in today, I felt that little junior brother's aura was much stronger. Xia Ho still felt that there were some changes in Li Fan. See, I told you that master will be fine. Let's observe for 2 more days. Xia Yi was worried. If it doesn't work, I'll think of a way to return to China and ask Imperial Concubine Zhou for help. Please don't go. Qin Junhua rejected Xia Ho's idea. I won't let you go back. How can you be like this? Aren't you worried about junior brother's safety? Xia Ho looked at Qin Junhua unhappily. Li Fan is Li Fan. The title of little tyrant is not for nothing. Qin Junhua reminded Xia Ho. His temper is there. If you call him and Imperial Consort Zhou comes, He might fight to the death with Imperial Consort Zhou. Xiaoho also knew Li Fan's temper. She had followed Li Fan for such a long time, so she naturally knew about it. Junior sister, I know you care about Li Fan, but he has his own thoughts. Please respect him. In this aspect, Chen Junhua was very similar to Li Fan. This is Li Fan's match, just leave it to him. Sigh. I don't care. Xiaoho took her bag and was about to go out. Junior sister, where are you going? To buy groceries, you idiot. Xia Yi rolled her eyes at Chen Junhua. Chen Junhua embarrassedly touched his nose. The hotel had a kitchen for guests. After Xiaoho bought groceries, she would usually cook there. She couldn't help Li Fan with his cultivation, so she could only cook something delicious for Li Fan. Bodhisattva. You must protect junior brother. Xiaoho had been praying for Li Fan, but Li Fan once again came to the rooftop. Another night fell. Although Li Fan had told him that he would only absorb it once, it was already nighttime. But after the first time, Li Fan couldn't control himself. The thrill of absorbing power surpassed everything else. He clenched his hands and stood on the rooftop, looking at the people below. These people are too small. For you they are just ants. Mr. Yang stood beside Li Fan, pointed at the city below, and said to Li Fan, "It is their honor to be able to provide you with power. Li Fan, this world is destined to surrender to you. There is no need to surrender. I just need power, a little power is enough." As Li Fan spoke, he opened his arms, opened his mouth, and took a deep breath. Green lights appeared in the city again, like stars in the night sky, and gathered towards Li Fan. Li Fan absorbed the energy from this city, and his body couldn't help but tremble slightly. That's great. That's really great. Li Fan almost forgot everything. He couldn't help but want to take a second breath. But at this time, a golden figure suddenly appeared in front of Li Fan, holding a shield, and slammed it on Li Fan's body. The flying lion goddess. She only appeared for a moment, bumped into Li Fan, and then disappeared from the rooftop. Mr. Yang coldly snorted and also disappeared. Li Fan opened his eyes again and looked at his hands in shock. It was too scary. I almost got addicted. Fortunately, the flying lion goddess suddenly appeared and woke me up. Li Fan thought for a while. He seemed to have absorbed energy for 5 days in a row. For a whole 5 days, he absorbed 1 or 2 years of lifespan every day. In other words, the average lifespan of the people in this city was reduced by 10 years. Li Fan looked at his hands in a daze. He felt that his hands were becoming demon claws. What was the difference between him and a monster? No, I can't continue like this. Li Fan stood on the rooftop and checked his internal strength. In just 5 days, he absorbed the power of a total of 10 dragons. However, this power was very messy. Although there were 10 dragons, he couldn't use them all. It was like a refining process. Li Fan had to get rid of unnecessary power and temper it into real useful power. Li Fan returned to his room and began to refine his true energy. These 10 dragons' true energy were refined by him into at least half a dragon's power. Li Fan was a person who strived for perfection. Since he was practicing, he must practice the best and use the purest true energy. However, he was still shocked in his heart. He could absorb the power of 10 dragons in 5 days. If it was a person who didn't pursue true energy, he could get the power of 60 dragons in a month in this city. Then he would change to another city and absorb for another month. After a year, this person would probably be invincible in the world. Even if the true energy wasn't pure enough, at least the amount was large. In less than a year, an extraordinary master would be born. How scary! Li Fan couldn't help but tremble. He even had the idea of continuing to go to the rooftop to absorb energy. It wouldn't take that long. As long as he stood there and kept absorbing, in one night, he could suck Jingdong into a dead city. Li Fan suddenly felt that he was very scary. Once he went crazy, Imperial concubine Zhou was nothing. He was probably the scariest demon in the world. Chapter 937. For the next 5 days, Li Fan did not know how to break through his strength. His strength was stuck at 9.5 dragons. If he wanted to improve the remaining half dragons, it would be extremely difficult. If Li Fan closed his pores, he could instantly increase his energy by half, reaching the optimal strength of 14 dragons. However, it could only be done in less than a minute, and it was not even when he made a move. If he made a move, his energy would be consumed even faster. For example, he had made 3 moves today, but he could only maintain this state for less than half a minute. How could he defeat a real grandmaster in less than half a minute? Li Fan analyzed for a while. That old devil had about 15 dragons, or even higher strength. He might be able to reach around 18 dragons. Even if Imperial Concubine Zhou came, she might not be able to defeat him. After all, he did not allow Imperial Concubine Zhou to absorb other people's energy. If she was allowed to absorb as she pleased, and Imperial Concubine Zhou recovered her peak strength, then it should not be a problem to defeat the old Japanese. However, this was a battle that belonged to him. He had to think of a way to let him fight with the old Japanese in his normal state. And when he closed his pores, he could kill the old Japanese in a second. Li Fan was thinking about 2 directions. One was how to improve his combat power. The other was how to effectively use the time when the pores closed. The pores could be closed for 1 minute, but Li Fan felt that 1 minute was too long. He had been walking the path of killing the old Japanese. He felt that 10 seconds was more or less enough. Yes, 10 seconds was more or less enough. In this case, after he closed his pores, he should increase the efficiency of the energy in his body. He should compress the time to improve the effect of the energy. He should continue to double his energy. Within 10 seconds, he should be able to reach 18 to 19 dragons. Li Fan had a rough direction. He felt that he could implement it, and the success rate would be very high. However, such power did not seem to be enough to kill the old Japanese in a second. The other method was how to improve his combat power. He was now only a foot away from becoming a grandmaster of his generation. However, this 1 foot was like 1 foot in the sky and 1 foot on the ground, and the difference was like heaven and earth. If he were to rely on internal energy cultivation, he would have to train for at least 2 to 3 years before he could officially step into the realm of a generation's grandmaster. But was there any quick way to do it? Li Fan began to think hard. At this moment, the flying lion goddess appeared again. She stood beside Li Fan, put down her sword and shield, and knelt before Li Fan and performed a knight's salute. What do you mean? Li Fan was a little confused. Did the flying lion goddess have something to say to him? Li Fan looked at the flying lion goddess and scrutinized her perfect posture. Suddenly, he thought of something. He recalled Abe Haruko's appearance when the demon blade and demon samurai possessed her. Yeah. Li Fan clapped his hands. Why didn't I think of that earlier? He was pleasantly surprised. This was a method. Come on, let's give it a try. Li Fan said to the flying lion goddess, try and see how you can fuse. The flying lion goddess looked at Li Fan in a daze. She was waiting for Li Fan's order. Come fuse. Li Fan placed his hands on the flying lion goddess's shoulders and shouted. However, there was no movement. Fuck, Li Fan thought about it. It might not be intense enough. I'll stand on this side. You stand on the other side. Li Fan let the flying lion goddess stand on the other side of the room and said, come, let's run together. The 2 of them ran together and collided with each other in the middle of the room. Li Fan fell to the ground from the collision. His butt hurt. Oh my God. Li Fan rubbed his butt and stood up. This doesn't seem to work. Li Fan sat on the bed again and thought. The flying lion goddess walked over considerately and massaged Li Fan's shoulders. Li Fan thought, if this is really Muronging, wouldn't it be great if she massaged my shoulders and back? Ha. Fuck, why did I accidentally start fantasizing again? Li Fan held his chin and thought again. Jiang Yi and Xia Yan stood at the door. The 2 girls stuck their butts out and listened to the movements inside. Why is it so lively today? Xia Yan asked. Junior brother seems to be very excited. Maybe Master has made a breakthrough. Jiang Yi analyzed. He sounds quite happy. It must be so. I knew that junior brother would definitely be able to do it. Jiang Yi looked at Xia Yan with disdain. I'll go make something delicious to celebrate. I'll also buy some sake. I think junior brother likes to drink the sake here. Xia Yan said and turned to go out. Li Fan thought for the whole day. The next day, when Xia Yan brought him breakfast, he was still sitting on the bed in a daze. The existence of the flying lion goddess was a superpower materialized by Lin Luo's good person card. In other words, the flying lion goddess was also an existence of energy. However, this energy was materialized like Murong Ying's materialization. If the flying lion goddess could materialize again, maybe he could make its energy attached to him? That's right. Li Fan clapped his hands hard, scaring Xia Yan, who had just come over, and she almost jumped up. Senior sister, you're here? Yeah, I'm here to bring you breakfast. Thank you, senior sister. Seeing Li Fan's happy expression, Xia Yan could not help but ask. Have you made any progress? I've made some breakthroughs. Senior sister, wait for my good news. By the way, I want to eat Mao's braised pork tonight. Okay, I'll make it for you. For the first time, Li Fan was in the mood to eat. It seemed that he had really made a breakthrough. Xia Yan also became happy. As long as junior brother was happy, she would also be happy. Time passed by in a blink of an eye. 10 days passed very quickly. In the Abe family's dojo, Abe Yoshio was sitting there, tasting the current island nation's cuisine. Compared to before, the taste is not good. Abe Yoshio sighed. I really miss Ryoko's cooking. Ryoko was the grandmother of Abe Ji and Abe Haruko. Their Abe family had always married into the family and would never have a daughter marry out. Great-grandfather, will that Chinaman still dare to come? Abe Ji worriedly asked. Will he find a way to run away? Don't worry, he will definitely come. Abe Yoshio said confidently while tasting the warm sake. I understand them, they are a group of people who want to keep their face. In this aspect, they are similar to our stupid samurai. Perhaps, people who practice martial arts all have this kind of temper. But you are so powerful, if he comes, he will just be sending himself to death. You're tuning in to the Passion Pages YouTube channel. We're so grateful for your support, and don't forget to subscribe to join us on this incredible journey through captivating stories. Your generosity through donations truly makes a world of difference, as it's the primary source of revenue that allows me to expand and enhance this channel for you. Thank you from the bottom of my heart for being a part of this adventure.